Peace. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. I got a sinus infection.
Oh, damn. I forgot I had my laptop. I had my laptop on mute. Pardon self. I muted it before I left out earlier today to drive my children around or something. All that. I'm like a. Oh, yikes. I can hear you now. I was saying,
you can hear me?
I can hear you. I had my laptop on mute. Pardon yourself.
Well, you better go ask your mom about that, bread.
You got smaller ones, huh?
That's actually my nephew.
Okay.
Yeah, my own kid is right here.
Ah, peace. Yeah, I just give everybody time to trickle in and all that.
Yeah.
Lee, I just
You okay,
stumbled upon a busted marker. God.
What'd you say?
I said I just stumbled upon a busted marker.
Oh.
On my desk.
Oh, did it leak
I'm
everywhere?
messy right now. Yeah, well, one big spot. I'm messy right now. That's driving me up the wall. It's disorganized because I haven't set everything up and
I hear you, man.
It's moving. And also I plan to do something to this floor in here. So that's why I haven't got everything.
Oh, cut out.
Right. This is like an insane asylum for me right now.
Oh man, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I'm very much in the routines. I'm very much into. I clean. My son and I, and my daughter when she's here, we're cleaning on Saturdays, putting stuff away, and every day, every weekend. So it's so routine.
Yeah.
That the house never gets out of order. So
that's a good quality to have.
You said what?
I said that's a good quality or organizational skill to have for sure.
Yeah.
I'm prone to clutter. Not necessarily like mess or whatever, but just clutter.
Yeah, I know.
I try to throw stuff away like once every 6. If I don't look at something for like 6 months, I'm like, all right, it's time to go. But I definitely like let it build.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
I gotta find something to get this damn ink off my hands.
Yeah.
I got so many things like goof off or whatever, all of them different things to remove stuff. But
some markers are hard to get off, man. Like if you get like Sharpie all over yourself or something, sometimes it doesn't wash off too easy.
Yeah, one trick I learned from my facility management days, take and go over it with dry erase. So a permanent marker streak right on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Go on top. Man,
you mean like with a you mean like a dry erase pad?
Hold on one second.
Good.
Yeah, you can dry erase pad, but you can literally take a marker, go trace over it with the dry erase marker. and then you could wipe it off. You could clear it off with
really?
with like a dry erase. Yep. I remember they showed me that in a public school some years ago.
that would be the place that they would need it most.
Yeah, I used to manage. What is going on? Oh my goodness, I'm doing something now. My screens are off. But technically, I don't need my extra screens at the moment because unless I'm sharing my screen, I'm trying to show y'all something. Why is it not? Peace, free Allah in the building.
Oh, here we go.
What is going on? See?
Peace, y'all.
Peace. That's gonna be your educator right there, Mike. I'm gonna pass you off to free Allah. He need to teach somebody. He walking around holding 120 and not sharing it with nobody. I know he's thinking of a quick for me.
Do you want water?
Yeah,
you sure?
Honorable name.
I need to flush. Flush should be flushed. Oh.
God damn. I'm gonna let y'all rock out to the music. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go clean my hands off and fix my dinner plate because it's gonna be a late night. Might as well have my food right here.
Peace.
All right. What's up, y'all? Peace, peace.
Peace, bro. What's your name, brother?
I'm Lakeem.
Okay. Whatever. Good to meet you, brother.
I'm new to the group. Just getting knowledge of self from down from Texas. So I'm in Dallas.
It's like you just muted yourself, brother.
There we go. Now, I said I'm down in Texas, Austin, Texas, and I'm new to the group. Just getting knowledge of self, and I'm still studying the 120s. So I'm early on right now. So it's good to see everybody live on this call.
Peace. Welcome to the Cipher. Welcome to the Soil class. I'm Power Born Allah from Steve Medina, from the land of Steve Medina. Peace to the God, Allah, Universal Life, Justice, representing Power Hill in the building. You're on mute, Almighty.
There we go.
That's what the problem is.
Okay. B Divine said those quinoa snacks was magnificent. So I passed that
on. Word.
I thought
I'm glad my oh, go ahead.
I'm glad I didn't have to fight about it.
Was it like 1 for me, 2 for you? 1 for me?
1, 2 for me. 1, right. 2 for you.
Hey, if you haven't done a knowledge to God, I know you're a musicologist, to Skyzoo's All the Brilliant Things. It's a great album. He's discussing, the scheme, the theme, pardon myself, the theme behind it is talking about gentrification in Now Why. And actually around the country, he actually has a song where he says, please don't let this happen to you, Chicago, Philadelphia, don't let this happen to you. Because he's talking about what already is happening Now Why.
Well, it is happening here.
Here too.
You know.
Oh, indeed. Oh, yeah, representing Power Born, Mike.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's real bad with gentrification right now. Real bad.
You know, in the past, it used to be that they wouldn't come into these areas, and we didn't know how to take that. But now, people being friendly. They're coming in and changing around the whole area. And that's just because the social structures, that's not where it should have been to begin with. You know, if you had more committees, then they had to come in and they had to deal with the committees. But like anything else, the social structure was weak, just like with the 2 million. So they just came in and take over areas and didn't really have to interface with too many people on committees to make that happen.
Indeed. And just so everybody know, peace, Lakeem. You one of Born King's fruits, right? Indeed. All right. Y'all remember your face. Peace to the God. Peace, Intelligent Master, aka I'm-Allah, representing D Mecca now up in Pelon. We all over. We got Michael representing Power Born, aka Pittsburgh. Maywood, Master Allah wife with Free. I'm-Allah from D Mecca. Life Justice from Power Hill. Lakeem, you say you from down south. You in Dallas? Oh, he dropped off. But I'll give him a second. So what we're gonna do, we could just build and all that. But at the build hour, I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves because it's supposed to be more people coming in. So I'm gonna give them a graceful half hour, so to say, to come in, since we did start at equality going through the God hour here in CST time. See self-truth. But yeah, God, the reason I brought up that record is very dope. First of all, you will dig it, and you probably will become a Skyzoo fan because you'll just go back to his previous work. He's an excellent lyricist.
Okay.
He's like Jay-Z, but way more complicated. You're gonna be like Conjures all over the place. Yeah. So he says, Raekwon's 1-2 for you, 1-2 for me. But he says, but those are for my seed. Versus how it was phrased with Raekwon and them. He said, because he just had a baby. So.
Okay. Well, send me the title. Send me the title of the album and things like that. I'll check it out.
Indeed. I'm oh, here's my phone. I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Actually, because I'm listening to it now, so I'm gonna screenshot it so you can see it.
All right.
So, hey, I'm grateful everybody could join us. Willfully, yeah, because I was supposed to have, besides the elder, the supreme elder, Life Justice, have some other notable gods from this nation join us. And I would tell you, I'll strive not to backtrack just as people come in to re-explain this, but one of the reasons that sparked the title for tonight's class, the subject matter, who is Allah, and then going deeper into the universal, a deep dive into the universal flag, the actual flag, and how we see ourselves in it. And I want to see how much people have studied, universal sham gods. Oh, here come the God right now. Universal sham gods build, and then how you're drawing it up for self. So actually, the God coming in right now, Allah Intelligence. We sat down and broke bread not last Saturday before last. I think it's running together for me because I got so much going on. But we built for culture hours. When we build, we build the flag, and then we had a discussion about who is Allah. And even in looking technically, who is Allah, like the person and all of that. And I just want to see how people see themselves in regards to that term, in regards to the man and all of that. Peace to the God of law intelligence, Intel. If he could hit, or maybe he ain't hooked all the way up yet. But yeah, so that's what the conversation that the God and I had sparked this subject matter for tonight. And as usual, all my subjects, especially for those who are studying in 120, as you know, as it's coming to you new versus us who have had it for a while, I want to see what y'all understanding is. So, and what I did tonight, inviting like a law intelligence, life justice. You see an eminent come through, Lord Jamel, and divine born understanding. It's divine understanding born. And but I invited the See Allah Nation cipher because he has been inviting me, and I've went built in his cipher, so it's only right to turn around and return the faith to show equality. And he has about five or six newborns. At least that's what I saw on the last call when we built last month. And it was a great build. Something that I would like to see more of, where we build on these lessons, but we also taking these lessons and correlating them to things that's going on nowadays.
And I do want to say it's been exciting because I'm getting into the history of Allah. So this is exciting, a cool topic. But another thing that's pretty exciting to me is the correlation of how hip hop aligns with the movement, you know, and I love being a historian. So hearing about the 60s, you know, early and late 60s, and how that movement started influencing the Nas's and the hip hop era, and how, you know, hip hop was taking the wisdom and the knowledge and mingling it and creating our own language. Like, it's real exciting to hear, you know, to read the history about it and correlation to how, you know, even the Nation of Islam and Allah and Malcolm X, and seeing how all of it is tying together. So, yeah, I just say,
don't be cutting my wisdom, God. Did you know I was building, God? You cut my wisdom. Like,
oh, sorry about that.
I was like that. I know my internet sometimes goes in and out. Hey, peace to God, Allah intelligence. You there, G?
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Lord.
Okay. Can you see me?
No, sir. I only see your honorable name.
Well, what do I got to do to be seen?
Start video.
Oh, there you go right there. My bad.
All right, peace, God.
A piece to the God, a piece to the forum, peace to everybody that's present. You know, so my name is Allah Intelligence. I'm from Medina. I'm a 5%er. I've been a 5%er for at least 35 years now. I came out there to see Medina and to build with the God, Power Born. What was it? A week or two ago?
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks. Just kind of running together for me.
Okay, and you know, since I was going through his town, I drive trucks. I was going through his town, and we had this conversation about who is Allah, and he said that, you know, it was interesting, the conversation that we had, because I was adamant in what, you know, I was stating, and he felt like, you know, hey, this seemed like it would be something like to present to the forum, you know, and I didn't know nothing about the forum, but he told me about it, said that he has it. So yeah, I guess, you know, it can bring about some interesting dialogue about how everybody see who Allah is. I'm gonna tell you how I see it, you know, when it's my time to add on. But right now, I just want to be formal, introduce myself. And,
yeah, indeed. Yeah. Peace. I don't mean cut your wisdom, Lord. I was letting people trickle in, and we're gonna do the introduction, because well, we were just building kind of meet and greet, so to say, because we got See Allah Nation in here. Wait, willfully Born King Mathematics gonna join us too. And some of the other guys that I invited. But thank you for joining us, Allah Intelligence. This is for Amallah Free. That's the original man who sent us the universal flags. Who sent me the universal flags to give you after you showed and prove on your 120 and your universal, and you built for the universal flag. Just so y'all can put a face with a name.
Peace.
All right, word. Peace, peace.
Peace. Allah, how you doing, God? Allah is always moving around. Always moving around. But yeah, so actually, y'all, let's go ahead and get in.
Yeah, constantly in motion, God. Constantly in motion. You already know.
I know. Hey, man, you know how like some guys after a while they get so-called nicknames. I'm not big into nicknames, but I know there's guys who do have them. And you know, I'm like, damn, I call you Speedy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lot, aka Speedy. You know what I'm saying? Because he be moving, G.
That's right. Traveling at magnificent speeds around the universe. You already know.
Indeed. How you doing out there? You still rocking in Pelon, God?
Yeah, I'm in Pelon, God. Everything is righteous. You know, just last night I was out at Mount Morris, building with a few gods, playing chess and all that, getting some chess lessons in. Yeah, so everything is peace, though, God. I'm just building. I'm still, you know, striving to get my student, you know, get to teaching more. And, you know, I'm always, you know, like dealing with today's Supreme Mathematics is, you know, Wisdom Cipher. So how I see that is, you know, expressing your ways and actions, you know what I mean, to the world around you, you know, to people and places in different situations, as you know, being a prescribed, you know, being a person of a set ability, you know, that's the prescribed law is for me to do this. You know, I'm held responsible for the uncivilized. So just, you know, displaying and expressing, you know, my ways and what I know through, you know, what I know through my ways. And you know, just being that light, you know, living, you know, being a true and living, you know, being that light for others, you know, like it says in the wisdom degree of the, you know, the knowledge culture, you know what I mean? One of the knowledge culture, it says, you know, why they wants to have a hard time civilizing the devil, you know what I mean? That's our duty, is to teach civilization, you know what I mean? Civilization means to teach, civilized means to teach the knowledge and wisdom to all the human family. So like, you know, living that through that, expressing your wisdom to others around you, you know? So I'm always doing that in little ways, just through my display of living and my ways and actions. I'm always doing that, but like I'm just striving to like get a student, you know what I mean? Finally take on a student, you know? So yeah, that's
Hey, good point. I got a now it brings the question. Michael, do you ever travel to Nawa?
I'm sorry, say again?
Do you ever travel to Nawa, to New York?
I used to go there pretty often, but I haven't been up there in like maybe about 3 or 4 years.
Okay. One of the things
I can get there pretty easily though.
Okay, indeed, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. One of the things, besides the point actually that life is actually in the same state, but I went put that on the elder God. I know the way I got this was face to face, from mouth to ear.
Yeah.
And Allah is closer to you than I am, technically. So besides you coming in here, if you're ever able to make time to go up there, and you can see the God is definitely eager to teach, and he has quite a bit to teach. I can tell by how his wisdom has been since he's been away.
Yeah, I haven't been up there in a couple of years. I would actually love to go back up to New York. I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah. So
peace, brother. Where you rest at? Where do you rest at?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Powerborn.
Oh, you're in Powerborn. All right. I need to travel out that way. I was hitting Power Hill a few weeks ago, I was running out back and forth to Power Hill like a few weeks straight. That's like a couple hours from me. I gotta find out the distance, coordinate the distance of what it is to Pittsburgh. But yeah, like indeed, I'm right here.
Yeah,
so, if I ever want to build,
it's really only about if you drive, it's about 6 hours. Like I've made it to the city, or at least up to Manhattan in about 6 hours before. Other parts a little bit longer, everything that goes on up there. But
that's peace. You all, I'll make sure you all are connected. And also, Michael, we'll go through the build. So just as we get closer to build out, Michael, he came was being taught by Shaquem a lot, Power Born, pardon himself. He kind of dragged ass. I'm gonna say it. I don't hold no punches. You know, I did when I was younger. And I got bombed. Shit. And then I got through 120. But then I went and we built in sound. And one of the things I was looking for, because he had came to me through IG and asked me about being his educator. And I was like, then he told me his history. So I said, well, let me check with the God, because I'm familiar with Shaquem. And we built, and I've read his work before, like 15 years ago, his writings and stuff. So we built back and forth. And he told me the history. So he told me what this brother had already as far as mathematics, alphabet, and some lessons. I called him up, we built, and he recited them. So I said, at least he didn't come half-assing. Because if he was, then I said, you're going to have to wait until you're able to show and prove what you at least have already. Because one of the things, and I think about the people that have come and gone that y'all have seen come through my cipher and leave, it's a lack of desire. It's fucking excuses all the damn time. Oh, I got this going on, my children, this, that, and the third. And you saying this to somebody who, I work 2 jobs, I got 2 children, I'm a single divorced father. I'm doing my duty, plus still making time to teach. So go ahead, Life.
To add on to that, which is like today's degree.
Oh my God, you can't buy
Hey, I'm gonna mute you, Mike.
When you deal with wisdom at a cipher, we go to the foundation, which is wisdom. Okay, and wisdom, and for everybody that sings the enlightener, it's wisdom is the way. And the way that we're talking about is what you do with this knowledge. The way that this knowledge is displayed is what today's degree is really about. And a cipher of what happens after you apply it. So I pointed out in a very simple way. Anything that you really think is important, you find a way to do it. Anything that you think that you serious about, you find a way to do it. Even if you're restricted in your home, even, with your parents, you find a way to do what you think is important. So when people start having those excuses, it's better that they do leave, because they're not reflecting on this in the way it's supposed to be reflected. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, indeed. That's one of my brothers. He told me, he said, God, people make important what's important to them. They make priority what's a priority to them. And what's so asinine, just to be straight up, in this day and age or with this social media shit, you tell me what you don't have, you like, I'm dragging, I don't have time, this and third, but you got time to deal with that cycle. You got time to post and do these selfies and complain about the world, but you don't have time to study your lessons. And you came to me and said you wanted. And one side, I'm like, slap on the wrist, but on the other side, I respect the point that you actually stay sharp on what you have. That told me a lot to say, let me at least give you a chance.
Right.
That's the least I could do is give you a chance. As in the born degree. In the 1 to 14, which you haven't got yet, so you won't get that. You won't understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, so today's mathematics wisdom at a cipher. Who else?
Pardon me, God. Before
go ahead,
I don't mean to cut your wisdom, God. I just wanted to ask the God the brother that's in Power Born, have he built with the cipher out there? Because it's a strong cipher in Power Born right there.
Yeah. Well, the only person I ever built with was Shaw King. For whatever reason, he was a really busy dude. I mean, like for most of the time he was teaching me, he had at least 2 jobs. And then he also was trying to run like pop-up food things. So like by the time I sort of slowed down, I hadn't even seen him face to face in like a year and a half, 2 years. And so I really wasn't exposed to, like, this is the first time I've ever seen like more than one of the gods together ever. So there wasn't really like a community aspect for my first couple years. And I kind of missed that because, but I had met people here and there. Like I had met I Majestic, another dude, Knowledge Build. But other than that, the only person I was ever really exposed to, like to build with, was Shaw King.
All right, well, I'm gonna see if I can get in touch with some other guys that's in the cipher, and I get in touch with you through Power.
Okay. Yeah, Power. I would appreciate it.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah, only people I know from there is Shaw King, Zaire, and Queen Shamika.
Yeah, but the gods that he named, Knowledge Build, I'm Majestic, they very active gods out there in that cipher, so if he get up with them, he definitely gonna be building with True and Living, because I know those brothers, and they they definitely, what I'm saying, about the culture.
Indeed.
It's important for him to be introduced to other people, because then he can get a sense of how this goes, how this flows between each one of us, how our social equality is, not only just building with them, but introduce them to other guys, so you can see the different reflections of this,
Indeed. Yeah. And it's always best to get it mouth to ear, like in person, because that's one of the things I've kind of been hesitant, like teaching people from different states. I do it, but to be straight up, other than Amallah, there hasn't been anybody else. Well, actually, the young Queen C Truth, we've been building pretty good. I'm surprised she usually one of the first ones in here, but yeah, so it not being able to see a person and see their ways and actions, and then also you see your educated ways and actions, it puts somewhat of a handicap on the process. I'm not saying it cannot happen, because my educator was taught by the God from Medina, Love Eternal. That's how it got to me, either one of them were traveling and on the phone with each other a lot too, as they tell me, their history. They told me their history. So, but yeah, that's great. I'm glad you got those connections.
Go get Daddy.
Plus, there's a lot of refinement that has to take place when you become exposed. It's like when you're exposed to the knowledge, it's a realization that you're supposed to come through. And in order for that realization to actually take place, you have to have somebody walking and talking with you. You have to have somebody that sees how you are as an individual person and see what you do with what's given to you. And if you don't have that mouth to ear situation going on, what happens is you bring things into this culture that don't really belong in this culture, and nobody really checks it simply because of the fact that they're not giving you that personal walking and talking with, you know. There's no substitute for that. I find that if you don't have someone doing exactly just that, then what you're doing is you're getting a superficial outlook of this. You're getting sometimes you can't look at yourself and see whether or not you are an example of this, or what's going on in your own personality, how it doesn't coincide with this culture. But if you got an enlightener and he's walking with you, he's looking at you and seeing what you need to know. He's seeing how you apply it. He's making comments. It's a back and forth dialogue. You need that personal relationship going on.
Indeed. Peace, Free stepped away. I saw where he at. Like he said, it's hard to learn the culture in a vacuum. You want to add on about that, Free Allah? Oh, okay. Say nothing.
I mean,
go ahead.
I just was looking to put it as simply as I could, you know. I can't. I don't want to go on after that.
I got you. Hey, so we in the build out now, y'all. I want everybody go around the table as like though we in the classroom. My intelligence already introduced us. So actually, if y'all could do these three things: state your name, state the land you're from. 4 things: how long you had knowledge yourself, and who your educator is, was, whatever, you know. Whoever want to go. I have to go last because Eminent says I'm the host and I always have to go last.
Peace. Free. I am free. Feels good to say that too, every time. Just outside of Chicago, as we call it, C. Medina. I got Supreme Mathematics just over 2 years ago. Recited 120 to power almost 1 year ago. Am I leaving anything out?
Actually, you answered the question.
Okay.
You answered the question. I don't want to make it too deep because we got to get on this subject.
Yep. Peace.
Appreciate that. Peace. Lakeem, actually, I'll just call people out. Lakeem, introduce yourself, G.
Peace. How are y'all? I'm Lakeem Ali. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I currently live in Austin, Texas right now. My educator is Born King, and I'm a seed of what y'all consider it. I got the mathematics down, and right now I'm studying the milestones and the history of Allah, and so that's where I'm at right now. And that's pretty much it.
Peace. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Sure.
Michael, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit of your history.
Peace. My name is Michael. I go by Ideas. See, I got mathematics about, I think it was about 4 years ago now. I went pretty strong on math. I got real into the mathematics. And my original enlightener, Shaw King, like we talked about, was real. He was real adamant about making sure the mathematics was down. He said that was really the heart of the culture, in the complete foundation. So I spent a lot of time just straight mathematics, like every day, just writing it out, talking to him about it, building with him about it. And I didn't start 120 until I would say about maybe 2.5 years after I got mathematics. So it wasn't like a real fast process for me. But I'm here in Power Born, Pittsburgh. this is like the first time I've ever even had, like I said, exposure to some of the other gods besides my original enlightener. Now I'm learning from Power Born here. My house might get a little bit loud in a second, so I'm gonna leave it at that and mute up a little bit.
All right, we love the babies though. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, peace. I'm Allah. You want to introduce yourself, Lord?
All right, peace to the gods. Everybody, I'm Allah, intelligent master. My foundation begins in D Mecca. That's Detroit, Michigan. I hope that's obvious. And I now rest in Pelon. And yeah, Powerborn Allah, that's my educator. The great mind of Powerborn Allah, you know, through him, I was able to knowledge 120 last October. Yeah, so, you know, I'm traveling the land right now. So I came to the root, closer to Mecca, just so that I could be amongst civilized, the all wise and civilized. And, you know, this is like my internship, you know, getting out here, being amongst the gods, like Michael was speaking about, you know, being able to be closer to more gods, even though, you know, where I was rooted at. You know, D Mecca is a very strong cipher. You know, C Medina is a very strong cipher. You know, I just, you know, saw that it would be, you know, good for me to come out here and to the root and get it with, you know, with those who were there when the law was around, you know, and soak up some more of that knowledge and wisdom, you know, and just to, you know, challenge myself. You know, so now I'm striving to just, you know, get as much knowledge and wisdom and understanding that I can and renew my history and you know, do my duty as a civilized person, you know, one who was civilized, you know, one of the original people with knowledge of their higher self, of who God is, and to go out, you know, and teach that, you know what I mean, to cultivate life, you know what I mean, on planet Earth. You know, just to, you know, bring about more peace throughout the universe. So that's where I'm at. Peace.
Peace. Born Truth. Peace.
Peace. Where you at, God?
Yeah, we just saw you and you disappeared.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I just I was added on to the link here. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Canada. One of the brothers from Canada up top. Okay. The region called Still City. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm just passing through doing the knowledge. You know, as you see, it's today's alphabet, so you know the truth had to come into the house and represent, stand on the square. You know what I mean? And acknowledge what's going on here. So I say peace to all the universal family. You know what I mean? And seeing all these wise men come together and activate the cipher. I'm here doing the knowledge. Peace.
Peace. How long were you at in your lessons, G?
I'm knowledge 120 quite a bit ago, probably in the early 2000s. I got knowledge of self when I was 15 years old and born power. So I'm a little bit seasoned in this.
Indeed. Welcome to the soil class.
Yes, indeed. Peace.
Appreciate you. I'm Powerborn Allah from resting in C Medina, also known as Chicago.
All right.
Indeed. Who's your educator, G?
I come from Born King.
Word. Okay.
One of Born
That's
King's
a great lineage.
Right.
Indeed. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you coming in and looking forward to you adding on, G.
Peace. Peace to the family.
Peace. Life Justice.
Peace. My name is Life Justice. I reside in Power Hill. I got knowledge of self in Mecca, well, actually in Medina. My enlighteners is our freedom born and high knowledge born. Our lineage go back to the Black Messiah, And the knowledge of Allah and Amar is the ones that who composed the Enlightener for the nation. I had knowledge itself for culture understanding years now. I got knowledge itself when I was knowledge filled, going to college over at Pratt Institute in Medina.
Indeed, great history. I met Life Justice through the God Saladin Allah, and we've been fast brothers ever since. And he's definitely offered me different perspective, and it's kind of like, as I've shared with my students, one of the main reasons that having a brother like Law Intelligence on here, the God like Justice is connecting us back to the root, because like I was telling the Earth the other day, just being transparent. The first question that Law Intelligence asked me when we first met in 2018, what's today's degree, God? And this was for me to striving to get a flag. And I was standing there looking at him like a deer in headlights. Actual fact. You know why? Because I wasn't used to ever hearing that question. Did not know what it meant. Until he was like, I'm asking, he looked at me, he's like, I'm asking you what the degree is. And he elaborated, he's like, you know, what. So by then I was already just scrambled, and I'm sitting there, what Allah, why did the devil teach me? I'm stumbling and all that. But still in all, that's because that protocol hadn't transmitted to me in 20 years. 20 years of having this. You about to say something, like?
I was just saying, wow, you know, we spoke about that before. That's an everyday, that, you know, coming up with knowledge itself in the God ciphers, that was an everyday occurrence. You didn't come in contact with anybody without, you know, this is like, peace, God, what's your name? How you see the day's degree? It gave you a chance to understand how cohesive this knowledge is to a person, or exactly where they're coming from, is to represent who you are. But once again, it's real important, since there's no beginning or ending to us. It's real important to understand that when you coming around in this, that you can't look at something that like it's old school or new school. You have to look at, because see, that those parameters have nothing to do with our culture. You know, right. You have to say, you know, if you're saying I'm the one that created this universe, if you're saying that, then you're saying that all of these worlds belong to you, that you're the maker, the owner, and the cream of the planet Earth. So you have to have that sense of being well-rounded, and you should want to be well-rounded. You should want to know what all of these different words and nomenclature mean, and concepts mean, because they originated from the time when the Father first started teaching us in Now Why, you know.
Indeed. So yeah, that's like, and I recognize from traveling to Mecca, like, okay, there's some stuff I didn't get. And then, you know, I'm forever indebted to my educators. You know what I'm saying? Because they got me to this point. They got me to where I can even build like this. And I don't use the word too often, but I'm humble enough to sit there and say, and listen, shut up and listen and say, okay, oh, damn, I didn't know that. And that's something you have to, as a brother was saying to me the other day, at some point in time, You're either student or teacher. Whatever cipher you walk into, you're either the student or the teacher. Be wise enough to recognize what you need to be at that particular moment. True and living.
Those roles are interchangeable. They're interchangeable. They happen all the time, you know.
Indeed. Did anybody, well, a lot of intelligence already basically introduced itself. Anybody else want to add on about today's mathematics? Before we go ahead and get into tonight's subject, get it heavy into it. Lakeem, how you see today's mathematics?
Man, so today's mathematics is, I see it as wisdom. So it's wisdom cipher. Wise words. I feel like we're all, well, Born King told me one time, the wise dome have to wisen other domes. And I see the cipher as the full circle. So I just see today, you know, being on this call in this circle and we're all wise. I just see today as a practice and an example of wise domes, wising other domes. You know, we're filling each other up to be better, to be more civilized, and to be our higher self, to be the supreme who's supposed to be. So that's how I would interpret it. Is, you know, we're taking all our wisdom and wisening our dome in this cipher that we're in. That's how I would see it.
Peace. Oh, you spoke to God up, as they say. Peace, Born King. Was he connected yet? Maybe not. Born King, can you hear me? Born King Mathematics. He must be still connecting his mic or something. So now here's something I'm gonna add on to that. You're saying like wise men, right? And wisdom also deals with discernment, decision-making, scrutinizing, critiquing, examination. Now here's something I shoot back at you, Lakeem. You haven't heard everybody build yet. And something like we got to think about, like we talked about earlier, like we were talking to Michael about walking and talking with somebody in person, in the physical. Be careful who you're going to call wise. Because words and actions don't always correlate, especially when it comes to this culture. They should. They definitely should. After careful examination, you'll realize and recognize that that is not always the case in every cipher. So the wisdom that you handle to the cipher will be the discernment to discriminate who's true and living and who's not. And now that's why you have to really hammer down on your supreme mathematics to be able to do that. Look, listen, observe, and respect. You know what I'm saying? But just something, it's like something I got from life. There's always duality in everything. Just like you look at it and say that thing, you know, you compliment and you recognize, okay, I'm amongst the wise men from the East, as it says in the lessons. But on the other side, never forget to examine any and everybody that comes into your cipher. Peace to Born King Mathematics Allah. Hey, guy, you introduce yourself, you know, a little bit of your history, how long you don't had it, educator, where you rest at. Oh, did it freeze? Did I freeze? Did I freeze up? Or
no.
Okay. His connection must have frozen a little bit. Man, he got a dope. He always be having some dope gear. Swear. Born King, can you hear me? Oh. Oh, my shit. All right. We see you, and you look like you're not frozen anymore. Just gotta, you want me to unmute you? Yeah. Oh, okay, you unmuted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, God. Peace to the God.
All right, peace to God, man. How you doing, God? How you doing, pal boy?
I'm great, G. How you doing, God?
I'm maintaining, man. Maintaining on this Wisdom Cipher Day, man. It's beautiful. Adding on my brothers. What we got going on?
Right now, we were just kind of doing a quick introduction, and since you just came in, if you give a little bit about your history, G, we're gonna get into tonight's subject about who is Allah and a deep dive into the universal flag.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Those that know me know me. The series. I've been doing that for at least 10 years now. You know, I do interviews with some of the artists of Wu-Tang Clan, this, that, and the third. I've been I also work with Raz Fresco, the God I Power. That's the young God. And everything I do is in the name of Allah. You know what I'm saying? One of the firstborns in True Cipher, Canada, Selah Nation. And yeah, I've been building in the name of Allah ever since, man. Just adding on and doing the will of Allah, you know what I mean? So yeah, peace to the gods. Today's mathematics is wisdom at a cipher. Wisdom is your wise words, ways, and actions. A cipher is 360 degrees, and you activate the cipher by the words you use and the words you choose to use. You know what I'm saying? That's why we choose wise words, because they shape and mold our environment and our cipher. The words you choose will reflect back on you like a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? So understand that you same words that you use could come and also strike you. You know what I'm saying? Because it goes 360 degrees. What comes out will come right back to you. So you got to make sure you got to always put positive energy in the atmosphere, so positive energy comes right back. You put negativity in the cipher, that's gonna come right back to you. You know what I mean? So we choose to put positive energy into the atmosphere, so it comes right back 360 degrees. So yeah, I'm gonna say peace to the gods, man. Let's add on peace.
Peace. And you know what? I sat there and just was saying this and almost about to skip a step. How y'all see today's degree in the 1 to 4? I was just saying that. I literally, I had to catch myself. For those who are qualified to build on that. Yeah. Anybody want to add on about what is today's degree? Oh, go ahead, guys.
Who else has that degree? Does everybody
Free Allah got it. I'm Allah got it.
Today's degree in the 1 to 40 is, what is the prescribed law of Islam to a said person that had ability? Answer that the civilized is held responsible for the uncivilized, and he must be punished by the nation of Islam.
Why is the word punish used, God?
I see it as, well, obviously, we're not the nation of Islam, we're the nation of gods and earth, so we administer our own punishment. I heard some brothers say that if you ain't right and exact, then we're gonna send you to the nation of Islam, and that's a punishment. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Wakil and the Allah team brothers, but any brothers that we sent back, we're not good at multiplying. That's where we sent them, to the nation of Islam, But yeah, we administer our own, what I'm saying, punishment for, deeds and actions that are not right and exact. Justice is a penalty reward for one's ways and actions. So, the prescribed laws is mathematics. You go against the laws of mathematics, there's a punishment. You know what I mean? And we administer our own punishment. Yeah, I mean that's how I see it. The wisdom.
That's peace, God.
Yeah,
that's peace. Where I see it is falls in the alphabet is called truth with square. Okay, and sometimes when you speak in the truth, it can hurt. Just like when you make somebody aware of something. Some people are not in a position where they can take that as that constructive criticism. So instead of it being something that adds on to them, it comes off somewhat like a punishment. We got to born the truth regardless to whom or what. So I see that punishment as, if you're not in line with it, if you don't see that that is a part of you, then it will be a punishment to you.
True.
Peace. That's peace. Yeah, I see it. The 20th degree. And the 1 to 40, because the 20th letter in the alphabet is truth. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the prescribed law is to teach the truth. To the uncivilized. To those that don't know. And if you don't teach it, you know what I'm saying, then that reflects right back to the knowledge born degree. It'll send you right back, right back to that degree, you know what I mean, to suffer your penalty. You know what I'm saying? That means you're gonna be taking a step backwards instead of taking a step forward, because you didn't do your duty as a civilized person. Your duty as a civilized person to get this truth is to go out and teach this truth to others. That's how you add wisdom onto the cipher, and that's how it keeps you firm on your square, So our duty as civilized people, is to live out the law, and our law that was given to us was to keep teaching. See, a lot of people come into this nation and they just come in here freestyling because they wasn't given the law, and they think just because they God, they can do what they want to do. They could do anything because they say that they God. I'm God. I could do what I want to do. However, it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Yaku had laws, rules, and regulation for making devil. You know what I'm saying? And all his followers, you know what I'm saying, obey all his laws. Regardless of what he told them to do, they did it. If not, they paid with their lives for every law they broke, or every law they broke. Now, Allah gave us laws, you know what I'm saying, and gave us rules and regulation for born in God. And if you don't if you don't go according to the law that was laid down, you know what I'm saying, by Allah, then you're gonna get sent back. And what you're gonna get sent back to is that 19th degree. And that 19th degree it just means that you're gonna be beaten with stripes. And that those that you didn't teach, you know what I'm saying, their blood is required at your hand, because you didn't teach them or warn them from their wicked ways while you knew what was right. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it.
Peace, God.
Who's yeah. I didn't get everybody in the cipher part of it. I came in late.
I didn't get the bill on it yet.
And I just want to I introduced myself. I just want to know who else is in the cipher. That God that just built, that was a peace bill, but I don't know your name, God.
Oh, God, Parsha. I'm a law intelligence God from Medina.
Okay, peace to the God. Okay, peace, God. Never been with you personally, but I know you well. I know you very well, God.
I know it be too, God. I know you from Born Everlasting Tree, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Peace,
God.
God, peace.
Go ahead, Born Truth.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, I definitely was wanted to add on that degree. The brother had stated why the word punish is used. Punish is a pain. And, I'm looking at that as a self-inflicted pain when you go disaccording, like the brother was building on, from the universal laws, because the universal laws are already set into motion. Allah already put this into motion. All you got to do is live it out, live according to the law, just like it says in understanding what we teach. You know what I'm saying? So if you go disaccording to the laws, it's like certain things will happen to you. Either, Supreme Mathematics is going to either teach a lesson or teach you a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Not to play with this. So that's where you will get your own punishment. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the word also prescribed is used. It's already scribed before time. You know what I mean? By a pro. So this is professionally set in stone. So you go mess around and see what happens. You know what I mean? That's the truth right there. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, you start playing with them 2 pieces of steel like Yaku, you're gonna see what you're gonna do. You're gonna make it up. That's why we don't play with this.
When you deal with the aspect of wisdom, you go right back to the 1 to 14. It says civilized means to teach knowledge and wisdom of the human family of the planet Earth. So teaching human family, the whole idea is to raise up the intelligence and raise up the the civilization of us collectively to a higher aspect. And if you don't do your job, then the situation, like they say, either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. If you don't do your job, you are held responsible for the uncivilized. You are held responsible for the state and condition of the world today. You know, either you're adding on or you subtracting from, but you're doing something. And as civilized people, you have to teach civilization. And also, you have to make sure that it coincides with the people that you come in contact with. You know, it has to be specifically something to help to civilize them, bring them up to speed with who the true and living God is, their origin in this world, and not worshiping things that does not exist.
Indeed. Indeed. Bree, were you about to add on? I thought you was reaching unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'll add on real quick. One slightly different angle on that same degree is both of those people can be within self. And that's where it starts. You know, when you're civilized, you're held responsible for when you were not. Because it's a choice. You know. That's it. In the long run, peace.
Peace. I add on to that. That's actually why I was gonna take it. Because that's what pardon so. That's the one thing that we must remember when we going through the math, alphabet, and the rest of the curriculum. It starts within self. It starts with you. You have to apply it to yourself before you even apply it to anything else around you. Because this is what knowledge of self.
True indeed.
You know, so when we say uncivilized is responsible for the uncivilized, it must be punished by the nation of ourself, Lord and Master. Man, like me, I'm gonna make this living. I'm gonna make it walk and talk. I just moved, and it's like a penalty for me because my home is, as I see it, not civilized just yet because it's not organized the way I want it. My kingdom, my wisdom cipher, the wisdom of my cipher is not going exactly the way I'm used to it that I have had in my last kingdom for equality years. So I've been striving since I got in here, building brick by brick, staying up late, cleaning this, and the third to get it right in the exact, to make sure my wisdom that I'm adding to this cycle manifest a supreme wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to be punished because here's the things. Once again, we got to make sure we're applying this to real things so people can really see what we're talking about. If you're unorganized, you're going to be punished by the nation of ourselves
for the lack of that organization. That's real.
Indeed. That's real. You don't know where your wallet at. You don't know where your keys at. You got to grab your work uniform. You ain't got that. You ain't got that hanging up in the spot that you always had it in, iron, ready to go. That's that punishment. Now we go back to the non-born degrees. The God said, beaten with many stripes, and that servant which knew his Lord's will and prepared not himself, neither according to his will,
shall be beaten with many stripes.
If you got that, we go into the determined ideal. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you go into a cipher without a determined ideal, what's going to be the flip side of that? Chaos. And that's how I've been feeling. Even like before I signed on here, I'm sitting here grabbing papers and organizing my office. You know, it's a lot of different moving parts. And the thing about God, we deal with 9 planets. We take it from knowledge of born. So we're used to dealing with moving parts. And the thing about us that shows and proves who we are is how we have all those moving in synchronicity. That is very crucial to the wisdom of your cipher.
Because you represent that knowledge.
You know what I mean? What'd you say, God?
I said because you represent the knowledge.
Exactly. So I love to quote this, and I think I posted it recently a while back. It's a movie, an old movie called Crazy as Hell with Eric LaSalle from like early 90s, I want to say. And him and the brother who was in Lean on Me, the coach that was in Lean on Me that flipped over the table and got all heated. They this Caucasian guy, his boss, walked into his office in the movie Crazy as Hell, and he says, "Man, like he was commenting on how neat everything was, precise, like it was very pristine." He said, "Well, a man's environment should be a reflection of his mind." I'm paraphrasing. It should be a reflection of his mind. So when you got all types of scrambled shit around you, you got scrambled eggs, that's manifesting that you got a scrambled mind. And that's why you need to sit still, meditate, think deeply on your particular subject. First subjects first, last subjects last. Peace.
Peace. You know, when I post that in Wise Gods and Wisdoms, that the cover Max Roach and it said deeds, not words, that's what it's all about. You know, the knowledge is the foundation and wisdom is the way. The way reflects that knowledge that you are. If you are doing something contrary to that knowledge, then then you're living in chaos. You live in wisdom knowledge, not knowledge wisdom. You know, we first things first, second things second. Plain and simple.
Indeed. Anybody else? Actually, let me see. Hey, Michael. He might have been in a conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking to my kid for a second.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah. I'm just wondering. I just want to see in real time. What did you draw? Did you draw any conclusions, any understanding of from what you just heard?
Yes.
give me a little something. Just give me a little something.
So I never really thought about, like I always knew that cipher kind of represented everything that I do, say, accomplish, you know. But the one thing that stood out to me the most was, and I even wrote it down, was when you said the wisdom of my cipher is represented by how well all the parts synchronize together at all times. And I guess I never really thought about it like that. You know, I always thought like, well, this is working well and that's working well and this and the other is working well, but I never really thought about how to harmonize everything together and keep it that way over a long term. And I'll tell you one thing that I really related to was I am the master of losing my keys, losing my wallet, you know, misplacing that kind of stuff.
Right.
So when you said that, I was like, man, that's something I got, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I could really like learn from and learn, you know, how to keep it together and how to make wisdom cipher mean like the totality of everything together, not just like one part here and one part there.
Indeed. Okay. Peace. Lakeem. Oh, go ahead, Free.
Peace.
I want to hit on the newborns, but go ahead, Free.
To the brother who was just speaking, what's the definition of a cipher?
The definition I've learned is the cipher is one anywhere mathematics takes place, which pretty much encompasses all of life because it's the science of life, the science of self. But it's also like your circle of direct control in your life also, like anything that you can directly control and directly influence is what you need to be in control of and be influenced by and with. That's how I've learned it, and that's kind of how I see it now.
When the day you recited Supreme Mathematics, was that your response?
What do you mean? I'm sorry. What?
Was there a day where you sat with your educator and you had to recite all the Supreme Mathematics and its definition? Oh, okay.
No.
That's real important. It's real important. Also, I wanted to get back on something that you said, Mike, a while ago, when you were told that you were supposed to deal with mathematics because that's basically what it's about. People have to recognize that we speak a language of mathematics. Mm-hmm. It's part of a culture, and the culture is our God. It's part of the culture. The language that we're speaking reflects that. Okay. If you just took the language and you did not have lessons, there's a lot of things you would not know at all because it's not in the mathematics. You wouldn't know about the satisfied, the dissatisfied. You wouldn't know about Yakub. You wouldn't know a lot of things concerning or where the knowledge and wisdom of the original man started, when the planet was first founded, what civilized means, what social equality means. See, these things would be missing because it would be taken out of the cultural context. The cultural context is 120. The language that we speak and is brought up and make cohesive sense of it is the language of mathematics and alphabets. In order to do that, you have to have concise meanings for what these things mean. So I just wanted to put that in perspective for you, and also to tie back up to what Free was asking you. Is that your explanation when your enlightener did this? See, and the fact that wasn't done is being pointed out to you, that's something that you want to work on, concise meanings for what is mathematics and alphabets, not just generalities of it. Because especially if you've had knowledge yourself for a while, because the era I came from, you had to be right and exact. Okay, when you said something and it wasn't right and exact, first of all, you had to show and prove whatever it is that you're saying. And if it wasn't right and exact, get ready for somebody to cut it up. So that's just to keep you, in Wu, that's the sword sharp, okay? It's important to be right and exact. It's important. So part of what you want to do is make sure that you have some concise meaning to these things, not just a general sense of what a cipher is, but an overall understanding of what a cipher is.
Peace. I want to bring a question up. Free, go ahead, because my question can wait.
The last thing I wanted to add to that is what everybody's talking about here is a very foundational type of thing that will affect all the other concepts. So no, it's not all about supreme mathematics. That's just, that's the ground floor. The rest of the building is important too.
Michael, that did not go past me that you said you do have a name, Ideas. So Ideas Born is your name.
Yeah.
What's the science behind your name, Ideas Born? Because that ideals.
It goes back like from before I even got mathematics. I do a lot of art, And I was always trying to figure out a signature, like, you sign your pieces. And one day I saw that my father had a couple like paintings and he signed it DEA. But of course, when you sign something DEA, people were like, "Oh, drug enforcement agency," whatever.
Right.
So, I've always been that person that could brainstorm really well and come up with a lot of concepts, put concepts together, put a lot of ideas together. And one day, it just like I was signing a piece, and I just had it, like it just came to me, ideas. So then when I got mathematics, my enlightener, I chose that name, and he was like, "Oh, it's too early for you to choose a name, really." But it had been with me for so long that it was just like kind of natural. And then I added on the Born to it when I got mathematics, because I feel like the purpose for me of getting knowledge, and the purpose for me of like everything I practice and do is to get all of my best ideas and bring them out to the world. I want to introduce myself, my artwork, and whatever else I can contribute, which is mostly for me, it's mostly in ideas and concepts and things I've learned and things I want to pass on. I want to make them born to kind of show the world what that's about.
So as I listen to what you said, and I don't want to take too much time, but just I want you to think about that as far as when I asked what's the science behind your name. Like, for example, somebody say Power Born Allah. What's the science behind my name? Well, first of all, the name Truth brings forth God, which I came to that name because of my love of history. As I learned my history, I learned that I was God. That brought the truth of my actual history, brought forth God, that is me. But then the science to my name, power is work over time. Born means to bring something into existence. Just as it takes a baby 9 months, it takes anything 9 stages to complete or manifest itself. So am I manifesting, am I putting in the work over time to bring forth God in everything I do? Like the God Born King was saying, he's been building in the name of Allah ever since he got it. That's another way. Me saying it this way is another way of what he said earlier. So just keep that in mind, because I'm gonna come back at you later. It probably might be one-on-one or whatever about the science of your name. You gave us the history behind your name.
I get you.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, BK.
Who's educating you? Is it Power Born you educating them?
Yeah, he just came to me, but he was with Shaquem out of Power Born.
Oh, okay, yeah, Shaquem, that's my brother. Okay, and how far, Michael? How far are you in you just on mathematics?
I'm sorry, say it again.
How far are you in the lessons? You just on mathematics?
No, I got the 1 to 10, and I just got the English C lesson #1 from Power Born.
Okay, and what do you have Allah's history, everything before that too as well?
I mean, yeah, I've learned a little about like the history of the nation, about the life of Allah. The way I learned that was through mostly through that book by Michael Knight, it's called Allah and His 5% or something like that. But it traces the history all the way back from when Allah was first with the nation, and then all the way up till almost till like modern day. What's the name of that book?
Yeah, that one book by Michael Knight's not the greatest. But,
no.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are you talking about Wakil's book?
Nah, he's talking about the Michael Knight book. That's a different one. That's the hip hop one.
Yeah,
I didn't get that one.
Yeah, that's the hip hop one. You should get some. You should get some real proper information on Allah's history. You know.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how the God is given whatever, but you know, the way I got it is there's a rites of passage. So you know, you first do your 3-day fast, then you learn the history of Allah. You know, then you learn what we teach. Then you get your mathematics alphabets, and then you start your, you know, 20 lessons and whatnot. That I find that's the best way to get a grounded foundation, you know, in coming up in this, as opposed to jumping right into math and alphabets and getting the lessons. You gotta have a thorough understanding of the history of Allah's history as well. You know, that's the foundation right there. So. You know, that's my understanding. That's how I give it to my students. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so to your point, this is gonna lead into
this is the one that I was talking about. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I just never bought it because
that's the hip hop. Yeah.
Because I saw the comments on it. I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave that alone. What Born King Mathematics said, it correlates with, once again, what might not have been transmitted to me when I was young in this. Because I noticed my brother Trueborn Mayala, his approach is that way, God Universal, his approach is that way. However, like, I learned about Allah's history just through walking and talking in my own searching. It wasn't like, because I know like how I've heard that method as Born King, the history, like even what we teach. I share that with my students as we're in the midst of like this class. Like that, now I think about that, that's probably gonna be another subject matter for another class, maybe in the next class session. But we went over the history of Allah in class, but I don't, as far as my style or my technique is, and actually I just recently adjusted it again as I get newer people. But normally it was 3 days. I started having to do a 3-day fast because I'm into fasting. So I got into fasting before I really even knew it was a part of my culture.
Right.
Up with you. But while they get the math, but they doing the 3-day fast instead. When they come out of that 3-day fast, they're supposed to be able to recite supreme mathematics. Okay. When they come out of 3-day fast. Okay. Then I give them the alphabet and so on, 1 page at a time. Now something I did different with ideas, because I'm gonna call you ideas as you stated. I actually recited something Eminent got on me about. I actually recited. He had 1 to 9 of the 1 to 36. I recited the rest of it for him, to him verbatim, mouth to ear, basically through the phone. But normally I email a sheet one sheet at a time. Depending on, you know, how, like the 1 to 14 for me is 3 pages, whereas, you know, and the 1 to 40 is like 7 or 8 pages. So I do it a page at a time, and you got to recite each page. And when you go to the next page, you got to recite what was behind it up to that point as well, just so I know you haven't forgot it, because I have taught people they would have forgot, you know, like you might hit them with the alphabet. They're like, oh, damn, I didn't know you was going to ask me that. And I remind them, you're responsible for whatever I give you. Right. So yeah, that's my normal process, but I'm constantly refining it because I haven't been teaching as long as y'all been teaching, to be straight up.
Can I say something, God?
Go ahead, God.
Right. First of all, that brother, that individual, he shouldn't really even be in this conversation right now, to be honest with you, because everything we're saying is going to go above his head. You know, I don't know how you're teaching him, but he doesn't even have a basic format of mathematics. You know, I mean, when the brother asks him what what cipher mean, I mean, we got our definition of cipher, because our definition, our universal definition, you know, we don't have to go into our own little brain deposit and try to pull it out. We can go right there from the foundation of what we got from our teachings and bring about a supreme understanding of what a cipher is. He said he's had mathematics for X amount of years, but I can't tell. And that's not good. And then another thing I got a problem with, he's telling everybody his name is Ideas Born. Now, when I hear that name, I don't know if you on the same, wavelength as I am, but I think about the wisdom culture degree in the knowledge free cipher. It was his idea of making devil. It was predicted of him to make a devil before he was born.
So he was born.
Yeah, 8,400 points out. It was predicted of him to make a devil when he had 8,400 before he was born. So I'm like, wait a minute, man. He's coming in all wrong. Because everybody I know that's of the culture see, we know who they are. However, they take on righteous names. They strive to take on righteous names, or civilized names. And that name right there is basically not going to reflect something that, honestly, I really don't think he should be in this conversation. And it's not nothing against him, but I think everything we're going to say is going above his head, man, because, we're dealing with a higher science right now, especially with the topic we get ready to go with. And I know that's, somebody you're teaching and everything right now, but I think he really needs a basic formula, especially of the mathematics, before he even come into this conversation. I can't even get into a conversation with a group of people unless I'm teaching them, and build on what I'm gonna build about. You know what I mean? Like when I'm getting ready about the night, I'm getting ready to go into some straight, high. I'm thinking I'm on this, the brothers that I'm building with is on the same page, but he's not on the same page as we are. So I think you probably should, get at him tomorrow or something like that and give him some basics again, because he got to at least know the mathematics, And that's just how I see it. I'm just keeping it real with you. Peace.
Peace. I understand. I see where you're coming from, Lord. It's a classroom. It is a classroom. It's not, and yes, you might get some stuff that's going to go over your head. You might get some stuff that hit you right in the head. Of course, I haven't totally assessed him, other than like he recited them to me. Like I didn't have him go through the different manifestations.
Why you bring them in here if you haven't totally assessed them? Our first principle of mathematics is knowledge. You got to know first before you even bring them around. You know what I'm saying? Before you even bring them around the cipher. You know what I mean? So you got to.
Just to add on for Power Born, my understanding was that this cipher was for the newborns and whatnot. So I have a few of my newborns in the cipher.
Right.
So
they know mathematics.
God Power Born's defense, but they're on history. They're on history. They just did their 3-day fast, and they're on the lost history. And I think one of them has mathematics.
That's peace.
And they got the knowledge degree and whatnot. But that was my understanding, that this was supposed to be for newborns learning about Allah, this, that, and the third. That's what it was born to me. I didn't know it was like a high science 120.
No, that part of stuff. No, that wasn't born to me. That wasn't born to me. The God told me that he'd be having some lives that he'd be doing, and he wanted to conversate about what we conversated about on the live. When I saw him, when I see you, God, last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was last week. I thought about it. It's only been 1 week. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went out there and I saw you, and it was like, wow, God, this is something I want to put on live. And I'll be having these classes and I'll be going on live and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool, God, that's peace. But I didn't know that it was something for newborn. So if that's the case, then pardon me. But being that you said that, God, Born King, now I got to do perspective. Now I came in here, without knowing that, but
but at the same time, that brother Ideas, I was on the same wave as you. He needs to be re-educated. I don't agree with that name either for a culture seed to have that type of name. First thing I thought about was a wisdom culture degree. You know what I'm saying? What is the term idea making double? That's what it came to me right away. Just to add on to what the God was saying. And I think it is also good to have him in the mix so he could learn from us. and get a proper understanding of how the culture is supposed to be manifested. You know, so I don't think, you know, you're like exiled from the cipher or whatever. You ready to, we teach all human families of the planet Earth. So, you know, I'm all about just making sure brothers get this culture right and exact so they can represent it right and exact. So when a God is asking you, what is a cipher? You're not in outer space with it. You're just keeping it simple. We teach it simple, keep it real. The cipher is 360 degrees. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there could be a place where mathematics is and all this other stuff, but you want to keep it simple, you know.
Peace.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to say to you is concerning reading and doing these other things like the book you had with Michael Knight. Once you have an enlightener, once you have somebody that's teaching you and you come across information like that, you need to discuss that with the person that's enlightening you, because he may be familiar with it, know whether it's right or exact or not, but you need to run these things across. Otherwise, you'll just be grafting things onto your foundation, and your foundation won't be. So, you know, once you get that established, you wanna have that dialogue, that interchange with the person who's enlightening you. What you've come across, is this right and exact? Those type of things. You want to run things by. That's all.
Yeah. Well, we're only a week in. I mean, he's been doing the knowledge to my stuff, and then he came forth and said he wanted to get. And I wasn't about to teach him, because I said I'm gonna go build with Shaquille first, because that's what we do. So just to give a dynamics, like what we're doing here. It is a classroom. It is going to be like newborns are listening and doing the knowledge to us who are experienced with this. And like I said, what Allah Intelligence shared with me in person was a very thought-provoking, because I've been thinking about it and building on it since he left. And I'm thinking like, I was coming up with these questions in my head and all that. And I started to call him beforehand, but I said, nah, I'd rather this question be asked in front of everybody just to see how, so we can see it in real time, because that's what we do.
Okay.
What you about to say, God?
No, I said that's peace.
Yeah, and God, Allah tells you, I not pardon if I gave a misinterpretation, but this is it's a classroom setting, newborns to experience, and also even with the brothers like Free Allah and Allah who have 120, I want to see how they see Allah now, since from a year ago to right now, because that's how we observe progress or stagnation. That's how I do. But yeah, it's not just a cipher for high scientists. I will be fully transparent, because I knew Born King was bringing in some newborns, and then there have my ideas. Well, that's why I said about ideas, because I was like, that don't sound. That's why I didn't think it was your name. I thought it was just the IG profile name. Straight up.
Your best bet is to study the culture seeds that came before you. You know what I'm saying? That's why history is always important. That will reward you for your studies. You know what I'm saying? There have been culture seeds before you. What are the names they chose? You know what I'm saying? And this is what you don't just come out of the blue with it. You know what I mean? History is there for a reason, for you to do the knowledge.
Do you know what a culture seed is? Do you know what a culture seed is?
Yeah, well, ask him.
You know what a culture seed is?
Yeah, it's a Caucasian in the culture. I think there's a knowledge seed is the original man. The wisdom seed, I don't remember, and I think the understanding seeds are Hispanics, Puerto Rican. That's how it was described to me. I don't remember what the wisdom seed is though. Okay. It was just explained to me very briefly, and I just got to know that I was the culture seed,
Peace. So I don't want to take up forever, but I do think this question might benefit the brother. To add on to the name conversation, it kind of made me want to ask, what motivated you to want this?
You mean to want the name?
No.
Want the knowledge.
What motivated you to want to learn this?
Peace. Cut y'all brothers. Peace for a moment. What's the name that this brother has? I didn't hear this name. What name is it?
Well, his name is Michael, but he was drawing up the name Ideas Born as a righteous name. So we're saying that that's not gonna fly.
Understand.
But
it doesn't have cultural context.
Right.
It doesn't have cultural context.
And now you're learning it.
And now I'm finding out. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
This is what a cipher is for. This is what a classroom is for. This is how you learn, right? So
yeah.
So yeah, like the God was asking you, why'd you want to get this knowledge? Like, what intrigued you to get the knowledge from the gods?
Well, I've always studied, like philosophy, psychology, all that stuff, on my own. And I was just interested. I can't exactly tell you like one thing that made me want to pursue it. It was just, I don't know. I don't really. I was just very interested in the culture of the 5%ers, and I wanted to learn something. I wanted to learn something mostly about myself. Really, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and God is a phrase that I had heard like in elementary school in much different contexts. And then when I was in my early 20s, I was introduced into a Masonic lodge, and they had degrees and they had teachings, but they were empty. Like they were just hollow. Like nobody really knew what it meant or what applications there were. And it just made me even more curious, like
Peace.
About knowledge itself. Okay.
In addition to the curiosity, because I'm sure a couple brothers on here understand that I get the curiosity thing.
Yeah.
The most important answer you're gonna learn is the answer to what motivated you to want this. What's motivating you every day to want this? Right. That's I was talking earlier about a foundation, and a couple other brothers were too in different words, and it was because of what you were saying about supreme mathematics. That's a foundational type of thing. And the most foundational thing that comes to mind for me is, why do you want this? Or, other brothers are gonna phrase it slightly differently, but what's pushing you to be on it? You could be doing a million other things right now.
I feel like I wouldn't mind pitching in as a newborn myself. I think one is history. That's the first foundation. I'm from Dallas, Texas. We grew up. I'm born in 1991, so I grew up in the 90s. Hip hop is a big part of the influence, but beyond that, as an artist. And soon I might become a teacher soon, and I'll be teaching like almost like 6th grade through 12. And understanding knowledge of self to me, and understanding the power that is really understanding the foundation of the power that I hold. And that's something that I want to start growing into learning and knowing. And I would say, before I came into studying supreme mathematics and the 5% nation, I was really studying a lot of like Kemetic knowledge, Kemetic understanding of, Asar, Cyrus, and what the gods, because they represent themselves as gods too, but it's just I understand the philosophical or the metaphysical stories of it equate to something deeper than just the stories and the characters. So a lot of times when I got interested and started studying and learning about Allah, I saw the character of him along with seeing the character of Malcolm X, Farah Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. I started seeing people as characters and what they represent. And you know, that was my motivation.
How does that help? How does that help your experience?
Question, right? Was it?
How does it help my experience?
Hold on, answer the other brother's question he just asked, because that's an important one for you to hear.
You mean me? Pardon me, I don't want to cut no one. Was this question directed to Lakeem or to the other brother here? The question before by Freedom. Who was that question directed to?
It was originally directed to me, but
Lakeem so I
added on for himself.
Yeah, you added on, but we were really interested to hear where the direction of the question was going at. Not to cut you, brother Lakeem. But you can answer it.
Yeah, dude, gotta do
I think I understand what he was asking me. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I understand a little more about what he was asking me about the why. And really it was just to gain, you know, like knowledge and wisdom of my own inner workings, you know. And I think that's what has always pushed me to want to learn about not just mathematics and the 120, but I've always sort of sought out that sort of knowledge and wisdom in other ways also. And what keeps me going with it really is like mathematics gave me a way to like straighten myself out a little bit, you know, like I'm trying to put it into words, but you know, every day I can go down and think about today's mathematics the way I learned it, and it gives me a little more insight about how I'm seeing today, what I have to do today. And it just I mean, really what keeps me going is that from the day I was given mathematics, you know, my life has drastically become deeper and more improved. And I think that's one thing that keeps me going with it, is it just kind of like straighten my brain out, my way of thinking out, you know.
Question there, just one more question, brother. I want to know, why did you leave the lodge to come in? That's what I'm asking. Why did you leave the lodge to come in? Like, how did you get to mathematics? Like, what was the travel that brought you here? Like, how did you? Okay. You said something about something was hollow. What were you learning?
Yeah. So you know when you go, so I don't know how familiar anyone is with the actual like lodges, but when you get your first 3 degrees and become, you know, Master Mason, you basically go through
Master Mason.
Yeah, you basically go through motions. Like, they don't really make you learn anything. They don't make you understand anything. You just go through this. It's almost like you're part of a play. And after that, it's just like, okay, you're in, pay your dues, try to learn something, and that's it. My uncle was the one who got me into it, and he was very well versed in the philosophies of it and the knowledge, but it was still like, you know, you go to the meetings and you talk to people in your lodge and people out of your lodge and in other lodges, and they don't know what they're, you know, you ask them what anything means and they're like, whoa, you know. And so it was, what I see is it was hollow, like, you know, so you wear a Masonic ring so other people see that you're a Mason, and it's like I don't know, it's like something in name only, you know. Oh, it looks good on a resume or something like that, or it looks good on your finger, and it never really meant much. And just through like growing up and listening to hip hop and just like kind of like getting bits and pieces and random sort of aspects of the 5% culture and the nation of gods and earths, it seemed to me like the people in that nation knew what it was about. They wanted to be part of it. It wasn't like just some social elevation thing for them. They like knew it. It was like they believed it. They loved it. Like their whole heart was in it. And that's what caused me to seek it out. And I never, until like really like just being who I am, I didn't have any threads to it at all until YouTube got big. And I kind of like started watching some YouTube videos. And that brother from Niagara Falls, Saladin Allah, he introduced me to my enlightener. Like I just messaged him and I said, I'm interested. You know, this is what I think I know. And they just went from there.
Hold on. Let me ask you something. Did you get the dietary law when you came in here? When somebody started teaching you, do you know the dietary law?
I know that we don't eat pork, and I know that we generally follow some of our. I know that we follow the teachings in many ways of Elijah Muhammad and what he taught about eating. But when you talk about dietary laws, like sounding like more than I guarantee you're talking about more than what I know.
All right, because when you first come into this right here, you got to clean yourself up. That's the first law we get. I mean, I was talking to you earlier about laws, but that's the day 3, the prescribed laws, and that's the first law we get. We gotta be clean in order to eat, in order to learn this right here. We got to be refined. You know what I'm saying? That's the first before we even got mathematics. We was given the law of the dietary. You know what I'm saying? That means we don't eat no bottom feeders. I don't know if you eat shrimp or crab or lobster, stuff like that. We don't eat none of that. We don't eat collard greens. We don't eat no lima beans. You know what I'm saying? And the people that live out this culture, they represent this culture by the things that they do and by the things that they say out their mouth. When we talk, people know who we are because they know it by our name, by the language we speak, by the flag that we wear, and by who we call the supreme being. That's how people are able to distinguish this nation from all others. That's why when you go out and you represent this culture right here, you can't go out there with a name. See, a name is very important. That's one of the things we learned about Allah, man, because we get our flag and say in the name of, you know what I'm saying, whoever that individual is, because we come with a certain name. And when people hear your name, they know who you are. If you say your name is Akbar Muhammad, they're going to know you're a Muslim. If you say your name is Osiris or Tahuti or whatever, they're going to know you're an Egyptian or Egyptologist. If you say your name is scientific or intelligence, but they're going to know you a 5%er. You know what I'm saying? See, every name every nation has a name, and every nation has a language. And our language that we speak is mathematics. Mathematics is the foundation. You can see mathematics operating in the earth and in the heavens above. All of the celestial bodies, they were put together through mathematics. You know what I'm saying? So that's our language, mathematics. We got our own land because we got our Mecca, which is down in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? And then we got our own customs. We got our own flag. You know what I'm saying? Our own flag. We represent, the sun, moon, and star. You know what I mean? So, every nation is tell who that individual belongs to by the way they present themselves. So when we asking you these questions, it's like an examination almost, because we want to know if somebody else asks you this question, what you gonna say? And based on what you're saying, it's gonna determine to the people whether you're part of this or whether you're part of something else. So it's very important that you do know what dietary law is. Why? Because that's what's gonna clean you up. So that these teachings, can be wired properly in your mentally and physically as you walk and talk with these teachings, in your travels. That's very important. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about no mysticism. We don't mystify none of these teachings. There's no form of mysticism whatsoever. There's no form of religion, cosmos, and no shape, form, or fashion with these teachings, because everything is real. We need to get to the people that's down here on earth. You know what I'm saying? That need the help. So we can't go into the sky on them, because you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing going up there that can help. We gotta help them right here on the planet. So we don't want nobody incorporating no other kind of teachings into the culture right here, because it confuse the people. Everything outside of this is religion, because everything outside of this is waiting on somebody to come back. They're either waiting for a spaceship to come back, they're waiting for some kind of man to come back, or they're waiting for some god to rise from out of the pyramid somewhere and, you know what I'm saying, take them, you know what I'm saying, back to Egypt, whatever. You know what I mean? So we don't have none of that. That's why it's very important that you learn what this is about. You got to know who Allah is. You got to know your mathematics, because that's what Allah gave us. He gave us mathematics and alphabet. That's very important. Peace.
Peace. And let's go right there. Let's go right there with the God just Allah Intelligence just set it off. And I mean, we getting deep into the time and all that. We probably gonna be here a minute. Like the God said about what Allah gave us. So just to put a cap on that, Michael, it's probably better to call you Michael. I'm gonna build with you directly before even as Allah say he'll connect you with the cipher, you know, and I'm familiar with Majestic just from once again from studying his work.
Yeah.
Like I told you before in our conversation. But I'm gonna build with you directly because that's one of the things, the goal that Allah Intelligence stuck with me, and then other gods, older guys who've had this much longer than I have. I'm around when I'm around life and intel. I'm like, shit, I'm a baby again almost, because my little 20 years don't compare to 30 plus years. You know what I'm saying? And being in the root. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to make sure people get this right and exact, because I see too much bullshit out there. I'm gonna just be straight up and blunt about it. I see a lot of bullshit, and one of the number one reason why there's so much bullshit around is because either it's a pretty so-called pretty face saying it and people don't question them, or you taking or it's another male or another man and you taking them on face value. Like, oh, they name look fly, oh, because his name is Powerborn. He talks like he's confident, but nobody ever questioned Powerborn. I want to be around people that are not fearful. Question me. I ain't got no problem with either I know it or I don't. And that's how everybody around must be. That's how it should be. That's how the cipher stays strong. And that's why stuff has been diluted, mixed, and tampered with. I asked the sister the other week. I noticed she was saying knowledge, wisdom, understanding in her word to me on social media. And I said, "You a 5%?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, where you at in your lesson?" See, I didn't go with no slick, smooth shit. My shit straight to the between the nose. Where you at in your lessons? She admitted 3 to 4 days later that she intentionally ignored that part of my question, of our dialogue, because I asked it 2 different times. And when she gave me that answer, I'm wise at this point in my life. I'm wise enough to know to say, "Oh, understand is understood," and I just leave her alone.
Well, you know, I'm thankful really to be here right now, because I'm not the type of person who's going to be so proud to say like, "Oh, well, whatever somebody would say," or to avoid an examination or anything like that. And like I said, this is the first time I've been around any other gods except my first enlightener, and I've never really built with more than one person at a time or at all. So when I hear what you guys are saying, it's like, okay, I know where I have to go. I know what I need to know. You know, it's like,
the more you know what you don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of,
you know what you don't know.
I think one of the first times I sent you a build, Powerborn, was knowledge, knowing what you need to know, knowing what you don't know. Like, if you don't know what you don't know, then you'll always be ignorant. And so I feel like I actually feel very fortunate to have been able to be here to know, like, hey, maybe I'm off, not maybe, but I am off course, even right down to the name. Like, you know, it's not disheartening. But it's like, okay, I know what I have to work on now. I know some of the things I have to work on, some of the things I have to learn.
Peace. So therein lies some of the danger of learning a culture in a vacuum, or confusing a culture with hip hop trends. You know, hip hop didn't influence the 5%. The 5% influenced hip hop.
Right. Yeah. It makes my hair kind of stand up when people talk about the hip hop thing. Be straight up.
And by no means am I saying you are. I'm just saying those are some of the dangers of getting it in a vacuum.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that hip hop influenced the culture. I just meant that in hip hop, you often hear people drop the terms and drop fragments of knowledge, and that's how I heard of anything in the first place. You know what I mean? I don't know if I said that like in a clear way, but
yeah. Well, see, you know, I mean, hip hop is a mouthpiece, and every different culture that was out there amongst our folks and amongst the folks in Jamaica and other cultures in the earlier form of hip hop, they would represent. They were putting their stuff out there, and they were basically talking to each other through the medium of hip hop, not necessarily but they're speaking a language which other people who are familiar with actually know what they're talking about. So it's different in the fact that you're representing who you are, and there's a lot of people that come out and represent who they are. But this culture is much more than that. You know, it's much more than that, and a lot of what happened in hip hop is as a result of what this culture is. But that hip hop did not create this. This is not the essence of what this is all about.
Right. Yeah, be mindful, because I've seen the people that say they got this via hip hop, and they understand it's not too strong. I ain't saying I don't sit here to say I got the greatest understanding, but it's definitely founded. It definitely has foundation. And I'll wrap up. The studies of masonry, it's just like this culture in some way. It's all about who teaches it to you. Because I wouldn't, in my experience, I was a Prince Hall Mason when I was from knowledge born years old to wisdom knowledge years old. And yeah, I definitely wouldn't say it's hollow. I say some of the people who said they were lifted out were hollow, but because actually that chapter, that cycle in my life, in my history of Quran, prepared me for this. Because that's when I had to first memorize long pieces of information verbatim, and that people will walk up and say, yo, what's the first obligation in the Entered Apprentice? You know what I'm saying? What's that degree? And I promise and swear, and you talking about paragraphs as long as the Wisdom Build and Destroy degree in the 1 to 40 that I had to learn like damn near from the jump, you know? And then I did have wise men around who could explain what we were discussing. Because I get your point. It sounded like you had a bunch of parakeets. They weren't.
Basically, yeah.
Not only that, it's not really set up to reveal to you. It's up to you to acquire from others. So it depends on how much of a pursuer you are to find out the things that you need to know. Nobody's just going to come and hand something to you if you're dealing with masonry. It's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
And at some point, those things that you memorize, you come to understand them better as you go along if you are dedicated to finding what the truth is. not necessarily just because you became a Mason, you know, but you're dedicated to find out what that knowledge of who you are is. You're that pinpointed that you'll put yourself in the places where you'll be able to acquire it. So maybe that didn't fit for you. Maybe you didn't see it, but other people come through that and they learn a lot of things, you know. It depends on how you apply it yourself.
Right. So Allah, who is Allah? Now, when Allah Intelligence and our conversation started out, we was breaking barrier, or some people say enjoying some God degree. And one of my brothers told me, said it's not God degree, but eating food is not God degree. It's God jewel. But I remember after he said, in Allah Intelligence, correct me.
You're frozen. Oh, it's frozen.
Frozen?
Frozen.
You froze for a second.
You froze for a minute.
You forgot to feed that squirrel again.
Hey, how am I now?
Jesus, stop it. You good?
You good now?
Okay. So he told me about the story.
1 minute, God, before you even go into it.
Go ahead.
Fun stuff. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say, you told me the story of Sahim, pardon self. Sahim, okay, who was one of the firstborn out of Medina. It was 14 of them, but he's known as the firstborn of Medina. And he's walking down the street with the God educator. Go ahead, Lord. You want to take it away?
No. It's 15 of them, but go ahead.
It's 50? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to see. I can acknowledge that. I'm up for correction. So the guy walking down the street with Allah Intelligence's educator, Judge.
No, he was walking with Judge Jameek. Judge Jameek taught my educator.
Pardon self, God. Taught your educator, pardon self. And who's your educator, God?
Jameek.
Got it. So they walking down the street, Sahim and Judge Jameek. At some point in this conversation, Sahim says, "Who is Allah?" And Judge Jameek thought this was an opportunity to impress by giving a fly, self-styled wisdom, his understanding, like, yeah, I'm one of the older guys, one of the firstborn of Medina. Let me show him what I know. So he goes into this long dialogue about who Allah is. And I guess literally right when he finished, I don't know if the God let him finish, but Sahim grabbed him by the shirt collar and pressed him up against a store garage door, rattling and all of that, like you are not Allah. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong.
He grabbed him and threw him up against the gate and told him Allah's the Father. And that was it. And this is back in like early 70s. He got the knowledge, but he told him after he said all of what he said, he told him, Allah's the Father. And that's it. He left him right there. Everything just went south.
So my initial response was like, okay, now here's where the question comes up at. Because I see myself, I'm Allah. But he was like, and the God and I were going, he's like, you're not Allah, y'all. And then he was joking. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, wait, I'm not. And then I was like, I'm not saying. And when he went on to elaborate, like, did you get the planes and buses to get the children on them trip? Did you get that school in Mecca? The God said it with a smile, but like making a point. And I said, no, I'm not. Go ahead, God.
Did you take 7 out of 8 shots for this nation? Did you do time in Matterhorn? Did you create the mathematics? Did you birth this nation through your mind? These are questions I was asking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, so, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm not physical man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah. But then here, this is where them wheels started really turning after we parted ways, because we discussed so much more that we do not have time to go. Well, I'm not making time to go into, because the guy went into a lot of different high sciences with me. Plus, he gave me homework to study more. And Allah is in the mind. So now here's the why we talk about who is Allah. We got the physical Allah the Father, who born this nation through his mind. All agree. I don't think anybody disagrees.
Right.
Now we talk about Allah, because now this is something I know from building with Life and building with Saladin. Like, we built Allah as a collective,
right?
As all minds are one. Because one of the questions that came to mind is, what's the difference between how we look at Allah the Father versus how the Nation of Islam looks at Master Fard Muhammad or W.D. Farrar? Anybody want to answer that? That's the first question on the table.
Well, I think you need to just look at 140 to understand who Allah is. Okay? It doesn't appear anywhere else in your lessons that concise, except with the knowledge degree within the 140. All right? And it says that Allah is the Asiatic black man. Okay? Now, that's not a title that's given to one person. We're not walking around saying that we are Allah's. It's only Allah. All right? Now, no one understands this. When you say the maker, the owner, the cream of planet Earth, you're talking about a universe that was created by what? You understand what I'm saying? Now, we know and understand this nation here, and we understand what the Father did here. But the Father took 120 lessons and gave it to us, and gave us mathematics. And the cultural context of that method of where we apply this language at is to those 120 degrees. All right? So, in studying the Father, for those who've been around for a while, know that at one point, some of the firstborn tried to call themselves sons of Allah. He said, no, you Allah, you Allah, you Allah also. Okay? That's what the Father said. Now, that brings it on the table to say, okay, don't make a religion out of me, because that's what it would be. It wouldn't be any different if you were saying, okay, well, he's Allah and I'm not. Right. Okay, then or we studying hadith, and this is Muslim, this is Muhammad, and we're studying hadith because he's the perfect example, and we're just followers of Muhammad. See, that's going into some religion. Now, the science of Allah, if you're looking at all of this and everything that's been created, all this stuff, it comes from one. Okay, manifested through several eyes. So we got all of these gods that's here right now, manifesting different aspects of Allah. At the same time, we know and understand that we say knowledge is self. Are we talking about it's different for everybody? Or are we talking about a development of consciousness to take us to our apex, which we know and understand is Allah? To say it the other way is almost like there's no culture here. There's no civilization here. There's no cohesiveness to it, because everybody could be in, well, this is the way I see it, and that's the way it is. Nah, we know that knowledge is the foundation. We know we have to show and prove. We know we got to come to what the knowledge is. And that's definitive. Science, we deal with science because that, once again, is to get to the bottom, is to get to the bottom line of all of this. That bottom line, that origin, that knowledge, that evidence of a consciousness that is supreme consciousness is the knowledge of who we are. Not just the Father, but the knowledge of who we are in essence. We say returning back to essence, okay? What does that mean? Turn back to the form where it originally came from. Once again, are we talking about several pieces, or are we talking about or are we talking about not one cohesive piece that has several expressions?
Peace. Anybody want to add on? Born Truth? Until anybody want to add on to that?
No, I'm waiting for the gods to add on. I mean, that's piece the God just finished saying. That was positive.
Indeed.
And I see where we're coming from. So, I mean, anybody else want to add on? That's.
I mean, I got a question. You know, because a lot of times when I hear Allah,
go ahead,
the popular version is a lot of people say arm, leg, arm, head. You know, and I would love for someone to expound on, so I know it represents the body that we are the living and walking God in terms, but I would love to hear somebody expound on Allah in terms of arm, leg, arm, head, and how that relates to, you know, the supreme understanding of it.
Well, God,
as opposed to what?
Like I said, God, when I got knowledge of self, it was culture understanding years ago, real close to when that phrase was used commonly. All right. And the reason for saying arm, leg, arm, head was to say that it's God body, that it is a collective. Arm, leg, arm, head. That's Allah. That's where that originated from. That's something that was used all the time, so just like we used to describe ourselves as scientists. And that's somebody devoted to knowing. We build on science because that's about the knowledge. So that's where that phraseology originated from. It's not used as much now, but it was used very commonly back in the equality ciphers and God ciphers. It was used very, very commonly.
All right, peace. Go ahead, Born Truth. Look like you want to add on, G.
Yeah. For me, how I was brought up in this, you know, I had some distance from the root, but what I preserved from what was taught to me is that you know, a monkey has an arm, leg, arm, you know, head. He don't got no supreme head. That's the difference, because with the true and living God, you got the supreme head. So that's the only thing that I would say is that I add to is the supreme is the one with the supreme intelligence. You know, that's a law, you know what I mean, which is to me is more fitting than just man, because there's all types of man, but not every man is a law. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Not every man is a law. You know what I mean?
That's what I want to add on. When I got this, when I was coming up, it seemed like there was a distinction between God and Allah. Like I once read, I don't know if it was in the Power paperback, you know, I got this in the late 90s. But and I don't want to misquote, but I recall something to the extent of like, oh yeah, every man, you know, brothers, the gods, he might be the God, but he might not be Allah. And that's when I started thinking, I'm like, damn, so there's another level to this?
Right.
You know, like that just seemed like I started to interpret that as another level of excellence. Like that's something to, dare I say, aspire to, like, okay, to be Allah. And I once again, and I was thinking about the man. Now at that time, I was thinking about Allah the Father, like, because he had done all this. Like the God gave a short list of his. I mean, that ain't all what he accomplished, but you know what I'm saying?
In a short period of time.
You know, so that's something, that's a good point, because I know when I was coming up in this, I was like, everybody, yeah, you know, Bobby the God, everybody is not a law. Go ahead, Life Justice.
But well, taking it back to the understanding build degree in the 1 to 40, it tells you, or taking it back to the understanding God degree and the understanding build degree. It's a correlation right there to tell you that Allah is God and God is Allah. Always has been, always will be.
Allah is God, the earth and the heavens above, man. Yeah.
See, so and to be frank, the only time that you get that direct correlation is when you get into 140, when you get into the 1 to 40.
And the build.
You know, because when you look at it, when you look at who is the original man, it tells you original man is Asiatic black man to make it owner, the cream of the planet, earth, father, civilization, God of the universe. Don't say Allah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You get to, why is it the devil settled on the best part of planet Earth? It doesn't say Allah. You get to the knowledge degree in the 1 to 36, it doesn't say Allah. But when you get to the knowledge degree in the 1 to 40, it says Allah, black man from Asia. Mm-hmm. And then you go more into, as a matter of fact, you only hear Muslim and Muslim sons very little in the 1 to 40. It's talking about God and the devil. Which and it says who, we hear phrases like who the true and living God is, or your origin in this world. True and living God.
Living
is the most important part here. Okay. And there's a development in your godliness when you start to take on that group reality and looking at the original people and looking at the destiny of your folks. Okay. You don't start out there, but that's where you should be finishing at in order to call yourself civilized, because at that point, you're teaching knowledge and wisdom of the human family of the planet Earth. So that means you must have that knowledge of how this happened, how this came to be, how we lost knowledge itself, how we regain that knowledge itself, and how we come back into our original form of who we really are. So it's a cycle that's manifested there in 120 when it's looked at as a conglomerate, that maybe you don't see that in its fullest totality until you got 120 under your cap.
Anybody else want to add on?
The last thing I just want to say one more thing is that, just to add on what the brother was saying, is that Allah is definitely achieved in your highest status of consciousness. You know what I mean? Definitely when you go through the chambers, especially when you talk about freedom is applied to 40 or more. It's like by that time, of course, depending on when you were born alive mentally, because there's people come into the knowledge of a certain ages and then you was living a life other than what you live in now. You see, so now once you come up and you've gone through this lifestyle for quite a bit of years and you do put yourself in order, you got to see in yourself, are you doing the reality of what Allah does? Because Allah is all righteousness, all good. Allah is good all the time. He's the one who's stimulating his environment. He's making force and power to make things change, controlling it. You see what I'm saying? So that takes time to develop. Like, you got to develop yourself. Then you got to have foresight and know what your community does. You got to be a person that comes to your community and do that thing. So Allah, he was the best one to do this in a short period of time. So that's why we all strive. That's why we carry the family name, because, you know what I'm saying? He did it. You know what I'm saying? Someone had to tell me this. I wasn't, I wasn't born, no, I was told. He wasn't told, So peace.
Peace.
Okay. Anybody else? I know it's a couple other brothers on the phone, but if y'all just want to,
Wait, hold on, God. Born King, you're on mute. Born King trying to say something.
Yeah, just to add on real quick, I kind of see it both ways. I'm kind of interested to see how Allah Intelligence is gonna see it.
That's basic.
But I see it both ways. I see Allah is God and God is Allah, but I also see that there's levels to this. Not every God is Allah, you know. The proper name for the true and living God is Allah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that if the proper name for the true and living God is Allah, then there's a little bit more excellence to Allah than God. It's like God is more secular, and Allah is more divine. Of course, you know, it's in the Arabic, it's in an original language, as opposed to God, which is a name that can be switched around to dog as well. And you know, something like Allah, you can't even, you know, no matter how you flip it back and forth, it's still a divine name. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You say Allah or you say halal, you know, it's still righteous. So there's differences to the two, but at the same time, when we say Allah is God, you know, we're saying they're one and the same. You know what I mean? So
but it's elevated.
You sparking more questions.
I see it both ways.
More questions. Go ahead, pardon yourself.
Yeah. I see it both ways. You know, when it's good, it's one and the same. When it's not, is when you're not in accordance with Allah's mathematics. You know what I mean? Then it's not. You know, but I like to see how some of the other brothers see it.
Yeah. Allah, you want to add on, G? I see your mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I see it like how the lessons say it. Like, you know, it says in the lessons, and you know, in the 37, in the understanding God degree and the understanding build degree, you know, it says, tell us why does the devil teach the 85% that God is a righteous, unseen being that exists everywhere. Allah is God in the earth and in the earth and the heavens, and is just and true, and there is no unrighteousness in him, but he is not unseen. He is seen and heard everywhere, for he is the all-seeing. And understand and build degree. Then why did God make devil? To show forth his power, that he is all wise and righteous, that he can make a devil, which is weak and wicked, and then give him the power to rule the earth for 6,000 years, and then destroy the devil in one day without falling victim to the devil's civilization. Otherwise, to show and prove that Allah is God, always has been, and always will be. So, like, I don't see there's no difference. They're one and the same. If you God, you the supreme being. You the true and living God, you Allah. You can't be supreme. You can't call yourself God if you're not being supreme. So talking about you going to some other level to become Allah, you not God. Supreme mean the most high. If you God, you the supreme being. There's nothing higher than that. There's no going to no another level. They one and the same. Peace.
I don't know.
Peace.
It's a better understanding of your totality.
But let me. I think I should add on now, and then we could kind of like sift, you know, to see, you know, how we engage what it is I'm trying to say, and what it is I'm striving to say, in relationship to what you guys, what you brothers are saying too. So. In response to what that brother just got finished saying, there's always one amongst us, you know what I'm saying, who was the wise. There's always going to be one amongst the whole circle is as the wisest. You know what I'm saying? There's many gods, you know what I'm saying, but there's always one in the cipher that's going to be, you know, the wisest. What I was telling Power Born when I went to, you know what I'm saying, see him and everything, I told him that Allah doesn't mean God in Arabic. Okay? Allah does not mean God in Arabic. La ilaha or ilah means God or the God. Okay? Understand that. That's what God means in Arabic. You know, and y'all can look it up. Y'all can look it up like that. Allah is the name of the supreme of all beings. Okay? When the Muslims say La ilaha illallah, They saying there is no other God but Allah. They're not saying there's no other God but, and I'm Arabic, you know, so that y'all see what I'm saying too. You know, they're not saying there's no other God but God. They're saying that there's no other God, Allah. Okay, because illallah and illallah and la ilaha.
La ilaha.
One is saying God, one is saying Allah. Why? Because Allah is somebody's name. You ever read a Son of Man? At the foundation of all those Son of Man to say in the name of Allah, the true and living God, the one to whom all praises is due, the most merciful, the most beneficent, the author of creation, the master of the day of judgment. This is who Allah is. Okay? Allah is somebody's name. And we say that's somebody's name because that individual was predicted to come. Just like all the other great men in this Quran was predicted to come before they got here. Allah was also predicted to come. However, nobody knew the time, the day, or the hour Allah would appear. But like all the men inside our lessons was predicted to come. God, Yaqub, he was predicted. Okay? Supplanter or he who grabs the heel. Jesus, he was predicted to come. Okay, that's why you got 2000 BC, 1000 BC, 5 BC, all of that because he was predicted to come. Musa or Moses, which means the great civilizer or the one. He was predicted by the 23 scientists in the year 1. Allah was also predicted to come. He was also a great man that would be predicted to come. But then when he get here, everybody say that they Allah. No, there was one individual who was Allah. We're not saying that we're not supreme, but he gave us the formula, the problem-solving formula of the universe, which is mathematics and the language to speak our mathematics, which is our alphabet. So that we could be like him. However, he was the one that was predicted to come and bring forth gods on the planet Earth. He would be the master or the 13th man, as we call it. And he be the 13th man because he had first 9 born, he had Ibika, he had Justice, and he had Abu Shahid. And he made the 13th man, the master. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that he is, the immaculate conception. They say he, Allah, is one. He is self-created. Why? Because nobody gave him mathematics. He formulated mathematics in his own mind, and he gave us mathematics. He gave us alphabets. You know what I'm saying? He gave us the science of the clock. You know what I'm saying? This is the man who was predicted to come. Now, being that he was predicted to come, it's just, I guess, with some firstborns and, some people, they feel slighted when other people call themselves Allah. I don't mind taking the family name Allah, of course, but I'm Allah intelligence, meaning that I bear witness to Allah's intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Who graciously, presented us, with his supreme mathematics so that we can be gods of this universe. You know what I mean? So that's what I meant by Allah when I spoke it to Power Boom. That's what I was saying about, Allah. And when I talk about Allah, I'm talking about Allah the Father, And now you can kind of like see where I was coming from with that. And then, y'all brothers can add on to that. Peace.
Peace. Peace. 6 sextillion. Pretty, happy coming with that. Go ahead, Born King. I won't stay out the way.
I see what the God is saying. Definitely, Allah is a God. That's when we say that, we're talking about the Father, the supreme of all beings. At the same time, when we go according to Allah's mathematics and we bear witness to his teachings, you know what I'm saying, then we Allah as well as one. And he taught us that we Allah too as well. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But there's a standard and that we have to live up to. I know some brothers is like, you know, different brothers teach different. I mean, some brothers may not even like brothers that have Allah in the names like that.
Right, right.
I've always wondered about that, but I know a bunch of brother Allah understanding, Allah jihad.
That's why I wanted to hear what Allah Intelligence had to say about that, because I know a lot of gods that would get offended if you put, you know, because ABG went through hell picking that name as well, having Allah as, you know, Allah born God. You know, brothers saying what you're trying to be, you're trying to say you Allah, you know what I mean? So I understand that certain brothers, you know, get flack for that, get heat for that. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, we are Allah as well, you know what I mean? Just like when we used to greet each other, we say peace Allah, you know what I mean? That started but with the Father. That's how we greet the Father, peace Allah. And then we started greeting ourselves like that because we seen the Father within ourselves. And then we greet our air like says, peace Allah. You see what I'm saying? But the foundation is always the Father, right? So we cannot lose sight of that as well. And once you understand that, I think everything else is peace, you know? But yeah, I know a lot of brothers that, you know, Allah is our family name, and, you know, my name is Born King Mathematics Allah. And, you know, I heard of brothers be like, when you say it in Arabic, it's Allah Mathematics, the king is born, because, you know, we go from right to left. So it's already in the beginning, because if you take it through the ancient writings, everything starts with Allah. See what I'm saying? But the Western world, from left to right, it ends in Allah. You see what I'm saying? So I don't have to put my Allah in the beginning of my name, because once you read it from right to left, Allah is in the beginning of our names anyways, and all of our names that have it like that. And then the same thing with Allah Intelligence, it'd be Intelligence Allah once you flip it. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, there's no beginning and no ending to Allah at the end of the day, you know, and that's the science. So that's my piece.
That's peace, huh?
So, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, so where, oh man, I'd be frozen up. Anybody else got any questions before I speak?
Well, I wanna add on to that, right?
Oh, go ahead, G.
And I want to say, like, you know, like I said, in my Son of Man's, you know, all my Son of Man's, you know, Shamgar would always introduce, you know, who was the one all praises was due to first. And even the Muslims, they you know, say the word Allah all the time. You know, we got to teach them too, because they need to know that Allah was already here, you know, and he done already went off to be with great minds, as he said, you know. However, you know, what needs to be established is, you know, what I'm trying to basically, what I'm striving to say is based on something that, you know, it just came to mind, especially when I seen you with that shirt and you said there's no other God but Allah, and I was like, yo, you know, when I told you that La ilaha illallah, you pointed right to your shirt. I was like, well, yeah, you know what I'm saying? All of this just seemed like it fell right in, you know,
right.
And you had Allah, you Akbar under that, and the reason why, you know, it was important to me to stress that to the cipher here tonight is because, you know, what needs to be understood is that Allah means the supreme of all beings, you know, the greatest, you know, like I said, when Shamgar would introduce him, when you read your Son of Man's, he always gave a almost a paragraph of what Allah meant. You know what I'm saying? And we carry the name of Allah because, you know, and the God is right. You know, when we greet each other, we say peace Allah. You know, and that's not only, you know, calling ourselves Allah, but it's also giving praise, you know, to the man, you know, that gave us the teaching so that we can carry on his name. Because when we walk and we talk, this is how we keep Allah alive. You know what I'm saying? By teaching, you know, what was given to us from the father of this nation. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the reason why I state that is because when you see all the other great men that came along, you know, you don't see, you know, individuals that call themselves by, you know, these names, you know, and professing to, you know what I'm saying, be, you know, great teachers, you know, of their truths, you know what I'm saying? You know, so, you know, we don't see nobody in this nation with the name Allah either. You know, it's always like we carry the last name. We carry it as a last name, or we carry it as a name because, you know, everybody carries the last name of their father. You know what I'm saying? Even in the world, you know, now I'm not even just talking about the culture. I'm talking about when you're born on this land, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get the last name of your father. I got the last name of my father. So you know, I'm talking about my physical father, you know, and our mental father, we wear the last name of our mental father as well, you know, because that's where we came from. That's what this knowledge came from. You know, when you look at the NOI, they wear the last name of, you know, the person that fathered their nation, you know, Muhammad.
Facts.
You know, so you know, so like I said, when the God was right, when we say peace, Allah, that's peace, you know, because we keeping the teachings alive that was given to us by Allah. The problem is, you know, when Allah was here, you know, and then when he got here, you know, everybody else said that they Allah, you know, and I'm not saying like people on this forum because y'all understand where I'm coming from. I'm pretty sure I gave a concise and explicit breakdown of what it was that I meant by it. But you know, everybody else, they run around, they saying Allah, you know, that they Allah, you know what I'm saying? And it's important that they know the greatness that Allah bestowed upon us, you know, when he was here. I mean, were you willing to do all of that Allah did? Or have you even done it? You know, and you know, now that you're here, you know. So that was my piece on that, and that's how I wanted to break that down. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's you know, this is a peace topic. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad.
And I'm surprised you hadn't. Well, I mean, not surprised. I know in time and with willfully.
You frozen now.
The sons of
Allah.
Allah.
Yo, God, you froze up.
Yeah, you froze. You froze.
That's true. I haven't been freezing up in my last.
I was real brief, but you know, just we missed that last little bar.
Yeah. Oh, my point being, in our discussion, our 101 bill, it tied into the universal flag, and the guy was building with me about the 8 points of the flag, and saying, you know, the sun rays, the sons of Allah, and so I want to stay on this topic as far as who is Allah. And Born Truth, I'm gonna go to you right after I add on real quick and question. So we said, as the guy explicitly said, there's always a wisest of the wise. And as the Nation of Islam will say, there's a supreme God. Now, we distinguish ourselves because now I'm gonna say it just how I draw it up. I don't look at Allah, the Father, as higher than me. Is that wrong? Because the Muslims look at Farad as higher than them. He's because I look at the God, Allah, the Father laid he laid the yellow brick road. I did it. Yeah. I got beat with many stripes. And here's the thing, I'm out here doing the same thing, similar, not the same exact, because equality doesn't mean identical, but it is, it's reciprocation, it's the sameness. I'm doing youth advocacy myself. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm physically doing that. I'm working with young so-called at-risk teenagers. I'm out here teaching on the streets, doing it for free. I just finally started getting paid for it on the side in the last year or so. So that's my question. Are we saying that the Father is higher? Is he supreme to us? Or is it we just saying he is the most high? Because that has to be distinguished.
I don't see the Father as greater than I, definitely not. But we got to definitely put in the work. Like you said, you put in the work, so I see Allah in you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Remember, Allah is seen and heard everywhere. So it's not just through the Father. because when the Father wasn't here, who was Allah before him? Allah was always
That was
here.
another question.
Allah was always here.
No.
No.
Nah, peace. Because I was gonna say when you was building on the Allah as the last name, Allah is the last name because we is a continuation of Allah. We are a continuation of that. That's what a last name is.
Right.
You a continuation of that which come before you. And Allah to me is just a representation of supreme intelligence, because you can't be a supreme being without having supreme intelligence. Supreme being reflects having supreme intelligence. So if Allah is anything, it's supreme intelligence.
He said Allah was always here. No, I said Allah wasn't always here. How is that?
Supreme intelligence always existed. You got to draw it out of you. When the Father didn't give us nothing that didn't already exist within us. He just showed us.
Hold on. Whoa. Stop the presses right there. You telling me that already speaking mathematics? Listen, you telling me somebody was already speaking mathematics before Allah got here?
You can't teach mathematics to everybody. This is only for people who choose.
That's not what I asked you. I said somebody was already teaching supreme mathematics before Allah got here. Somebody was teaching supreme alphabets before Allah got here. Somebody gave us. All right, then. So how was Allah over here?
But Allah is not only. Well, I don't know. Maybe some brothers might
see that's where.
I don't see Allah. I don't see Allah only being
the Father
in the supreme mathematics, though.
Okay, now.
I didn't say he was in the supreme mathematics. I said there was somebody teaching supreme mathematics before Allah got here.
But how did Allah draw up supreme mathematics? Through dealing with supreme wisdom.
He drew it in his own mind.
By dealing with the Nation of Islam and going through supreme wisdom.
What you talking about?
Say that again.
You saw the problem in the problem book. The 13th question, right?
Yeah.
That's where this came from. It came from the problem book.
What was the 13th question?
Well, it was in the didn't it talk about let's see if I could get it verbatim.
After learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam, which is mathematics, it stands true that you can prove it in no limit, in no amount of time. You should use it to secure yourself some benefit that is luxury, good homes, friendship, and all walks of life.
Yeah.
So it already was mathematics. Islam was already mathematics.
That was supreme. That's
mathematics. I said that. I said supreme wisdom. Him studying supreme wisdom.
I'm just adding on.
That was mathematics. That was in a while. You know how many principles in mathematics? You know how many principles were in mathematics? It was only 7 principles. And they
remember.
Hold on.
But the whole point I made, God, was supreme intelligence. Allah is supreme intelligence. That's what Allah is.
Remember that was
we add on that name Allah. We are manifesting supreme intelligence. That's why we supreme beings.
Allah is who showed and proved he was Allah. Allah is the immaculate.
And that's how you show and prove, by supreme being, by your supreme existence.
Listen for a minute, my man.
Show you the true and living.
Right. One at a time. Hold on, Allah. Hold on. We're only gonna be able to say it if we speak one at a time. We're not able to speak. We're not in person with each other.
This is why everybody get confused, because they don't know who Allah is. This could go on and on and on and on. That's why
I was bringing it up, God.
Nah, this is a good build. Nah, this is a real peace build.
Peace to God, Minister Freedom. I see you.
Yeah, peace, Minister Freedom. Pardon self, God. Whoever shared, I'm glad y'all shared it.
Nah, I shared it. I brought Minister in.
Please, peace. Pardon self, God.
Yeah.
So many great teachers, I'll be forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just was creeping up here. I just creeping up here and doing the knowledge.
Huh?
I said I just was creeping up here and doing the knowledge. God, I had just seen the link, man.
Yeah, you're not on the scene, God. We see you.
Okay,
peace to the Freedom family.
Well, hold on. Let me get a piece of it, man. Let me get a tiny piece of it. I've been waiting for a minute. Let me get a tiny piece of it. Now, remember, you said that he answered a question that was left in a problem book.
I didn't say
right.
That.
I didn't say nobody. I'm saying that. That's what I'm drawing up myself. That this was designed from something that was left in the problem book from Fard, right?
No.
I'm saying that's where
true. He didn't want to read it.
He didn't even deal with that.
He didn't want to read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Abu Shahid did that.
That was Abu Shahid.
Allah said he don't got no problem, so he didn't read it.
Right.
Right. But okay, all right. They didn't have no conversation about it then. He had no knowledge of it?
They did build
He
on
had
it.
a conversation about it, but the father didn't deal with that. He said, I ain't had no problem.
But then
I
again,
understand.
we don't know the ins and outs because we wasn't there. Exactly.
Right.
We don't know the exact.
We don't know exactly what they were.
We're dealing with hearsay from true living gods. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what, yeah, I'm about to say, Minister, you have time to build if you want to, God. I saw a minister just say that.
Well,
man, y'all don't.
Let me just say this to Allah intelligence. By me bear witnessing that a law existed before the Father, that does not take away from Allah the Father. You see what I'm saying?
Who was it that existed? This Allah you're talking about. And what did he do that was so profound that you can say that he was Allah? I know you ain't dealing with a mystery. That's why I'm asking you, who are you talking about? Because we keep everything real. We keep everything
keep it real, kick it live. I want hey, Born King, let me add on.
Hold on. No.
Oh, go ahead. Pardon yourself.
Yes.
I mean, we could take it from Fard. We could take it from Alfonso.
Fard never say he was alone.
We could take it from his father.
He didn't
from the 24 scientists that brought Fard into existence. He's the original Allah.
You can't make this stuff up, man. He didn't say he
make this stuff up. Alfonso was Allah.
Alfonso doesn't. Wait a minute. Alfonso don't mean Allah. It don't say that Ilahad.
He's the one with the determined idea with the 23 scientists that brought Fard into existence.
Do with what we talking about. We talking about Allah. We're not talking about Alfonso. We're not talking about Fard. We're not talking about none of that. You tell me who was Allah before Allah said he wasn't. What did he do that was so profound that he can be called Allah? That's the question.
Peace.
Allah's one. The only one.
Sound like a Muslim, brother. Now I'm just trying to get straight to the facts. We dealing with right and exact. We got people on this forum that need to know the facts. We want to go straight to it. We don't want to just be saying stuff, pulling it out of the air because it sounds good, because then that means we still religious. Okay, you got to be able to show and prove everything we say out of our mouth.
Okay, so knowledge and wisdom, God. But my thing is, we say that Allah is infinite and Allah has always has been. And the Father came in 1963, 1964. Then what? Before that, you're saying Allah never existed then?
What's your first degree in the knowledge-free cipher?
Who's the holy? How we dealing with the Holy Quran or Bible?
What's the degree?
The degree is who made the Holy Quran or Bible? How long ago? Why does Islam use history every 25,000 years? The Holy Quran or Bible is made by the original man who was Allah, the supreme being black man from Asia.
Stop right there. Whoever put this history together, they saying that was Allah, right?
Right.
Okay, then cool. Then that means that whatever was predicted in this history was already predicted that it would take place during this history while we lived it out. And it was predicted that this great man, like all the other great men, would come at a certain time. And in the Son of Man, now you got Son of Man, don't you, Born King?
Of course, you know I do.
I'm sure you do. Of course you do. Now, in the Son of Man, Shamgar said that the devil was able to do the work and fulfill his obligation to Allah without no interruption from the prophets, the messengers, the Son of Man, the gods, or who? Allah. That means he couldn't have been around while all this shit was going on for the last 6,000 years, because he had an obligation to fulfill before Allah even appeared. And then when it was time for his rule to be up, Allah would appear. This was
okay.
I'm pretty sure you read that. So you can't say that he was already here, because then that would deny the person that did come and say he was Allah.
So, okay. See, that's why I say I got peace. Go ahead, Born King.
Yeah. I see. I definitely see.
I see where he's coming from, because I remember reading something by Duma Wadi about the pay attention to the time that's noted in the knowledge degree in your 1 to 40 or the free cipher, free added cipher. So God, kind of add on, not kind of, to add on to what Born King Mathematics said about, because are we saying that in that phrase of Allah is infinite, like we say knowledge is infinite, Allah is infinite, is that one of those fancy catchphrases that we need to be mindful of how it's said?
No, I think what needs to be stressed in that is that Allah is the God, and we know God is infinite, you know. So when we say Allah is God, then that means, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Allah has always been, Allah is the God, always has been, always will be. So when you're using that phrase, you need to stress in that phrase that you're talking about God.
So as always, when we have disagreement, or people, not even gonna say disagreements, we have different understandings. As G. Colleen once told me, many different understandings, but there's only one truth. So as it says in my alphabet as well, we go to the knowledge. I always say, let's take it to the lessons. So we go to the knowledge degree in your 1 to 10. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. As Life Justice pointed out earlier, it doesn't say Allah. It does not, and I'm glad he pointed out and gave a more perspective to that. Now, when people approach and say, oh, you say you God, are you this? And I say, I'm not that mystery God that's in the sky. But then I start building about the mind, because for sure, the mind is infinite.
Okay, I agree.
So is that not the mind of Allah? Because that is what unites all 9 of us on this call right now.
And it is the mind of Allah. Okay.
Right. However, I get where you're coming from.
Only Allah could come up with what he came up with out of this great mind that we say is the all-encompassing, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent within the universe. Only Allah could come up with what he came up with out of this great source of information. And this is the reason why he gave us 120. The reason why Allah gave us 120 is because he knew that the mind of the black man can go in many different areas of mental elevation. And he knew that if we got too far away, you know what I'm saying, from what he had gave us, then we would basically go off and become fallen stars or start falling victim, and not really get the teachings or not stay rooted in the teachings that he had gave to us. You know what I'm saying? So it was very important that we got math alphabets in 120 so that we could stay grounded. Even Shamgar spoke about that in the Son of Man. He said all a God and the earth need is 120. They have the knowledge 120, and then in time they will wisdom 120, and after that they'll be able to understand 120 so that they can master this cipher that we call Earth. That's why Allah gave us what he gave us. Because if not, we'd be stuck in these books trying to transcend and trying to levitate and trying to clairvoyant and ESP and all that type of stuff. I'm not saying that's not something that people did, but we got to save the people while we trying to levitate and go above. The people are still down here killing themselves, eating the wrong foods, caught up in religion, and going through all of the madness that the hell that the devil is putting them through. But we somewhere over here trying to levitate and clairvoyant instead of save the people. That's why he gave us math alphabets in 120. Somebody else is going to give us a whole bunch of other stuff. Here, brother, read this book. Here, brother, don't get me wrong. It's good to read. It's good to read, but the problem becomes when people become these books because they wasn't properly rooted in the culture. If you're not properly rooted in the culture of Allah's mathematics, then it's going to be easy for you to get uprooted and caught up in other science. You know what I'm saying? That's outside of this culture. So don't get me wrong. I read a lot. I've read everything. China, Russia, Raul Nefer, the Metal Netter, the Bible, the Quran. I read it all. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. The problem is the brothers get uprooted.
And the sisters, because the earth be clean.
In a minute. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta stay rooted in the teachings of the culture. And that's why when I teach my student, the first thing I give them besides the dietary law, is the history on Allah. And it don't be long, it don't be much. Take the
milestones
right here and just have that. You know what I'm saying? Put that on cap. No.
Would you say the bomb is good or bad?
Well, I mean, it's got some stuff in there that's all right, but
exactly.
I wouldn't give it to anybody if you ask me.
You gotta get the milestones.
Oh, really? Okay. What'd you say, Born Truth?
We give out the milestones in the timeline, and of course, you got to get acquired facts when you walk and talk with the elders that were there in the flesh. So that takes some self-study. You go into the root and speak with individuals to accumulate more facts. But you go with the you got to go with the timeline, all the events in his life, and that should be good enough.
Indeed. So we saying okay. I mean, he keep hammering on the same nail to make sure the understanding is crystal clear. That way you coming from a lot of intelligence, because I understand you want, like you said to me, in the person, in the physical, like making sure the understanding is rooted in the original teachings. But based on showing and proving. I'm always really careful because I never want to be a parakeet. I have been that. I'm transparent about it, but until you get caught up and somebody say, show and prove that.
Facts.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So the mind is infinite. Because now when I'm building with somebody about how I made this universe as God, am I wrong to be tying in Allah? That I'm saying, because Allah is a God. And because it's Allah the person, Allah the physical man who chose that name. None of us are going to choose that name. We know about Allah born God or ABG 7, but in that story. But just in generally speaking, none of us are going to say, oh, I'm Allah, walking around like I'm Allah, as though just call me Allah. That number's been retired. It's retired infinitely, if y'all get the sports analogy. But when we talk about who is the original man, and then this also ties into that thing about, is every black man God? Is every white man devil? You know what I mean? Because some of us came up with, you just don't call everybody God like that. And that's where I learned, kind of got to the thing about you didn't say Allah to everybody. I'm still kind of, I don't jump out and say Allah to everybody. I don't say peace Allah to everybody unless I've observed your words.
Every woman's not the earth either, too, God. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame. Ain't no woman on here. All the women that's been around my cipher, but I talked to Queen C, our coach's soil, but she at her mother's or something going on with her. But none of the other queens. Progressing in their lessons. I said they had to show progressing before they come back in my class. So, but yeah, that's the question. Like, that ties into that. Is the black man automatically God? Because you know how people say God by nature?
I mean, everybody black ain't God. I mean,
God choose that for himself.
I'm asking this for the group too. I'm not me, but yeah.
Well, I mean, the way we got it, we teach God born in the mind. God ain't born through the physical. You know what I mean? That's why we take it from knowledge to born. So I wouldn't say everybody's God. You got to show and prove that. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I was God just because I'm black. When I was young, before I had the knowledge, and I was, doing things other than, ain't no way in the world I could be God. So I mean, you got to show and prove that. God is born through the mind. That's the immaculate conception I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's what they talking about when they talking about. You know what I'm saying? When they talking about Osiris. You know what I'm saying? They had predicted. They had history that was already predicted that they didn't understand. So when they say that the body of Osiris was chopped up in 14 pieces, and his sister was only able to find 13 pieces, and however he was able to still give birth to a child without finding the phallus of the Father is because this immaculate conception that they were talking about, which predicted history, that the 13th man, who was Allah, was able to bring forth a child or a seed, which was his young sons, universal sons, or his young gods, without the aid of a woman. You understand what I'm saying? He was able to bring forth his young seeds to be young gods without, you know what I'm saying, without using flesh or blood. He did it mentally because he was the 13th man.
I'm glad you explicitly said it that way, God. And let's go deep.
That's the immaculate conception. Birth without flesh or without blood. Because we were all born, you know, through mathematics that he gave us.
Okay, follow-up question. Islam, as it stated earlier when we talked about the problem, the problem book and the 13th question. Islam is mathematics, mathematics is Islam. We all acknowledge that. We acknowledge that as true and right and exact. Now, we go to the knowledge degree in your 1 to 40. Islam is the home of the original man. So Islam is are we looking at this as masculine and feminine? Because Allah is the masculine born, and he put the spark, he shot off that knowledge and brought it through the wisdom. Now, something I read in one of the Son of Mans you blessed me with was that brother, who was it? I pardon himself, I forget the name, but he said, stop looking at the wisdom as the woman, because God wisdom's his knowledge. I'm paraphrasing, but I noticed that distinction was made.
That's very exact.
So yeah, now and that's interesting because then right, that takes away the thing of saying knowledge is masculine and wisdom is feminine. Because we deal with, and tell me if y'all see this or not, whoever the best knower of the cipher is the best knower of the cipher. That's going to be the knowledge of. That's the person that's going to kick the knowledge to then manifest through their wisdom for you to get an understanding. Just like excellent example. The guy built with me about his rig. He took me from knowledge to born with his rig. I'm sure he had even more he could have taught me, but in the time that we had, he took me from the back of his truck to the front of his truck and back around on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So he's the best knower of that. But then we talk about a sister who delivers babies, midwifery. She gonna be the best knower of that and teaching, and could teach us the same way that God would teach us about his rig. So then that's why I started looking at we shouldn't be tying the mathematics to gender. Other than then we do say understand is the best part, which is tied to children, but that's not a gender because technically you can say that's either child. But
I got an input on it, and it's kind of, I'm still learning the knowledge and the information, but one way I saw it, because I'm a visual thinker, I'm an artist, and when I was reading and studying, I saw 1, 2, 3, knowledge, wisdom, understanding is also the sun, moon, and the star, which are the symbols that's on the flag itself. And then I started thinking of the nature of those things being the sun as the spark, or the sun being the fire, and the moon being, a lot of times the symbol, I see it as in symbolic ways too. And that takes the mind in a different way, because moon becomes the symbol of a lot of times the woman, or the moon becomes the symbol of emotions that control the tides on earth and things like that. And then the star being a reflection, and the moon is also a reflection of the sun too. And then if the sun is the knowledge, so I think a lot of times when we're explaining things, even in the comedic way, I think Mr. Your name, Ronald Moore. I'm sorry, I can't remember your
Allah Intelligence.
Allah Intelligence. How you were explaining the Immaculate Conception concept. And the origins, I know a lot of the origins that come from the Kemet of Osiris and the Set. They created Heru, the sun. A lot of times it's seen in three different ways. You know, we have the physical person, which is Allah, who was, you know, Allah born in the 1920s. And then you have Allah from the perspective of the supreme being, like, and then you have Allah that's in the mind of the self, the Allah of the self. So it's like always three ways to see or to perceive things. If, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, so I always see like the sun, the moon, and the star, I'll just leave it at that. Like that's a part of my perception is.
Where's this Allah supreme being at, Lakeem? Because that's the question that immediately jumps out to me. You put it in three different phases. You said Allah the man, Allah the supreme being, and the Allah that exists within us. Who's this Allah supreme being?
When I say that, I mean when we ourselves as the individuals, because that's who we striving to become. And you know, so when we reach that level, and we'll never reach that level, but when we become a 5%er and the righteous teachers, and we're able to have that supreme understanding of ourselves, that's when I feel like we've reached a level of supreme being within ourselves, and we can start civilizing other people who don't have that, you know. So that's what I mean.
You said never reach that level. And pardon yourself, God, Allah, and tell.
Got it.
So, and the reason I could speak to what you're saying, and I know where the angle you come from, because my daughter attends a Kemetic-based school, and I built with the director, and him and I, and we see eye to eye, but we disagree about terminologies. That's what we debate. But actual fact is, I can say from my teachings, he's the God of his family, because I heard his earth build about him. I should have recorded it, but I was like, because he just had a born day for his power ass cipher. And the way she talked about him, teaching them how to eat right, teaching her and her babies how to eat right, teaching them about meditate, all the, live civilized in righteousness. And she said that's why she's great, because of her king, to quote her, he was living that out. But I'm gonna tell you something where him and I, because he, like you just said, like you cannot reach it. Like in Kemet, they talk about, look at it like that's almost like indescribable.
Right.
Allah. We don't have that problem. We know who Allah is. For one, like the God, Allah Intelligence has said, Allah the Father, as predicted. Now, I talk about, then also I go to the mind. Now, the third part that you mentioned, the mind, but that mind is what links us all. That's the supreme mind that exists within all of us. That's not outside of us. That's the supreme intelligence that is, like the God Allah said, intelligent master, his name, that exists. When you would say Allah is seen and heard everywhere, that's how it's seen and heard everywhere, all eyes seen. That's because all of us on here, all our eyes are open enough to see clearly. Right. But please know, brother, there's no separation. Now, once again, though, we are not Allah the Father, because that's what the guy had. That's what I was looking at. I was like, wait a second, God. And he'll tell you, I was like,
yeah.
He's like, no, God, I ain't saying that. Go ahead, Lon, and tell.
No, I'm not saying that, just because, I designated who Allah is and who we are, that we not supreme, that we are lesser than, or we don't have the same kind of power to go out and do as Allah did, that we can, we are not below or under Allah because he was Allah. You know what I'm saying? I'm in, you power born. That's born king. That's the other God is born true. And we show and prove how our greatness by our works and by representing the culture that we is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We saying that in this culture that the black man is God, the black woman is the earth. You know, we can show and prove that while still going out there doing righteousness at the same time and still be great. So I'm not saying you under, Allah because he was Allah. No, that was Allah. Yo, man, listen, man, I do a lot to keep my name strong too. Man, I remember one time when we was coming up, and if somebody else had the same name as you, it was about to be a problem. I don't know if y'all know that history. Yeah, it's about to be a problem. Yeah, you gotta, my man, listen, you gotta tell me what that first thing I'm gonna ask you is, how do you spell that? And then when you tell, if it don't spell the same way mine spell, okay, all right, that's one thing that we can get, that we can, put to the side. But now, how do you see that? You know what I'm saying? And man, you better be coming just as strong as I'm coming with this truth, because if not, then that means, man, you might have to change your name. And I've seen brothers make other brothers either change that name or take that name from them. That has actually happened. So just because you don't have the same name as Allah doesn't mean that you're not great. Show and prove your greatness through your works. Now I'm not saying that you lesser than. I'm saying that. Don't please, don't get my words misconstrued. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he was great, I'm great. You great. But his name is that, my name is this, your name is that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And we all keep Allah alive by teaching it right and exact.
Peace, God.
Yeah, peace.
Man, yo, God, I didn't want to cut y'all bills, man, but I'm about to head off. This Minister Freedom, man.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Peace, God. I just was sitting back in the cut, man, doing the knowledge, God. You over here dropping all that good wisdom.
Yo, peace, God. All right.
Peace, God.
Yo, man, no doubt, man. All right, so we definitely gonna build, God. I know who you is, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, God. You know what I'm saying? I remember we did build that. I think it was a show and prove and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I done called you at a few show and proves, God. I know where you at. You a regular fixture, man.
Yeah, well, I'm just, doing, it's all alhamdulillah, you know what I'm saying?
No, you holding the post, God. I seen you on here. Wasn't no reason for me to talk.
I'm here to share with my brothers, man, what I can, and I just want, the same thing back, man. You know what I'm saying? We all, you know what I'm saying, trading, you know what I'm saying, our thoughts, we're taking a trip through the mind, man. So, I definitely, you know what I'm saying, look for the same from y'all, man. Just let's just keep it righteous. I got to get ready to make motion too, God. Over here, it's going on. The knowledge.
We don't ran over. It's some of these my soil.
I don't know how your classes be, God, but I gotta make sure I have my time. You know what I'm saying?
This how Born King do it, man. This how these Canada boys do it, man. They hold long out smash and drag parties.
Hey, hold on. This is a Region 7. This is a C Medina Powerborn soil class.
Oh, okay. I was saying, Born King sent me the text, man. So I knew.
Yeah, part yourself, guy. You've been in, guy. You've been in here before.
God, I was just talking shit. Y'all all can't kick it right, man.
Yeah, because you came. I remember that build about the understanding God. Yeah.
All right, God. Well, listen, God, I got to make more shit. I really do, man. I still got to get my shower.
Yeah, indeed.
Get me some rest. So,
Me too. Hey, but thank you. We'll wrap it up. Next class is August 3rd. I do them every 2 weeks. I used to do them every week, but I kind of question the engagement. My brothers who are near me know why I did that. But this is a soil class. It stands for the science of everything in life. I appreciate all you great minds coming in and joining us. Willfully, those who are just coming into this culture got something out of it. You took notes. You are welcome to reach out to myself or whomever in this cipher to ask questions. And I appreciate definitely my big brother. I can just look at y'all like big brothers, or my Aelites who came through. Just to add on, I appreciate each and every one of you all to add on. And Allah intelligent, thank you, Lord, because like I said, I didn't want to keep that conversation between us, to be straight up.
Thank you.
Yo, Allah intelligent, let me get your math, God. Send it to me.
Who needs who math?
Let me get your math. It's Born King. Yo, Lon tells
okay.
The math.
I'll get it to him.
Yeah, indeed, too. I was gonna ask for the same thing, God. I want to build with you in the physical, God. I'm out here in P-Line, so yeah, I come to Medina.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be in Medina for Children's Day. We doing the whole thing for Children's Day: the shirts, the waters, the juices, the toys, all kind of stuff we got going on this coming Sunday. So be down there, and we can definitely build.
Yo, this Children's Day this Sunday?
Yeah, in Medina, Fort Greene. Ahead of Medina.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, I'm there.
Come through, and I can build with you then for sure, G. But yeah, Power Born, make sure you can give all of y'all can get my math. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I know Born King and Amallah saying that. I got you. Master King, I didn't hear from you tonight. That's from CLI. I remember the name, if I'm not mistaken, from CLI Nation. Peace. I just wanted to acknowledge him. But yeah, y'all, great class. Made it spark more questions. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have questions. Why is the question asked by those who want to know? You know what I mean? So, hey, we're going to wrap it up. We ran over. I knew that was going to happen because of the topic and the people that was going to be in here. So, but it's all great. All right, peace to the gods. Keep building. Love you. All that. Peace.
Peace, God.
Word. Peace to all the gods.
Peace.